Because of the aforementioned reasons, Kong Ho felt it was odd that Chai Long would give the double sevens to the knowledge star. Any way it was put, this was the reason with the most face for the noble star to contract with Su Xing. Even if in the future Su Xing was to mention a contract right to Chai Ling's face, she perhaps would not be able to set aside her status as the Great Circle Castle's queen. Elder sister, you seem to imply that this palace is like a love-struck fool. Chai Long stroked Xing'er, her lips pursed, feigning disapproval. Past noble stars had never signed a contract, and is this palace not more at ease acting as the Great Circle Castle's free and unfettered imperial empress? It is fine for you to think this way. Kong Ho did not oppose and smiled. No one knows what will happen in the star duels until the very end. Rather than be like this, it would be better to live happily and freely, so as to avoid bringing trouble to yourself. Is this the reason you gave the double sevens to the knowledge star? Kong Ho asked. Chai Ling shook her head. The double sevens has already been trapped by that old man Northern Darkness. This palace has used the red ink iron certificate. Even if there truly was a chance to sign a contract, it would not help Xing'er at all. On the contrary, it would become a burden. And hero star Little Li Guang Hua Wanyue and Xing'er seem to have a certain misunderstanding. This palace has spoken with Hua Wanyue before. Knowing her temperament, even if she finally buried the hatchet, she would never mention the word contract. Let alone, this palace is very mindful of Jiang Shueishue's divination. Broken Arrow Beauty plucks the Kong Ho. Kong Ho held the fine wine in her throat. Chai Ling held back a thin smile and nodded. Broken Arrow. That is never auspicious. So this is why. Kong Ho could not help but smile at her painstaking efforts. But you, the noble star, are being this considerate of him. If he knew, he would inevitably be so moved as to devote his life to you. Kong Ho joked. Oh, yes. Chai Ling muttered. Immediately, the queen used a forced smile to hide the trace of distress in her heart. If only Xing'er knew what place the double sevens was at, then he must not hate this palace for that. Kong Ho could not help but cheer up when she heard these words. Yes, the ruins that the double sevens are located in are truly too shocking. She believed that even the purple thunder monster would be startled. However, your humble servant wonders if he has the courage to dare take the double sevens. Kong Ho said, ruminating. Does the man that this palace fancies have a lack of courage? Chai Ling proudly said. Kong Ho was silent. Su Xing, Hua Wanyue, and Wu Xiao circled about for a long time before arriving at the indicated location of the double sevens. Su Xing had wondered what place the double sevens that had been hyped so excitedly was concealed in, whether it was a ruin hidden deep in the mountains or a discreet valley gorge. In actuality, the final location of the double sevens was hardly any different from his first thought, but Su Xing was nevertheless shaken. Before them was a continuous chain of mountains, covered in immortal mist that did not disperse all year round, hiding the mountains indistinctly. Monkeys hollered, red-crowned cranes crowed, the form of a wonderland. A powerful spiritual aura struck them in the face. In these mountains, a building appeared particularly spectacular. That building reached higher than 1,000 chi, and it was surrounded in never-ending mist. Carefully looking, it was surprisingly an actual pavilion in the air. This pavilion was constructed from fine, white jade. It extended into the clouds and mist, giving them an illusion of boundlessness. And those beautiful jade and crystal hallways were constructed extending in all directions along the mountains. Walking upon them was like treading among clouds. And at the highest level of this pavilion was a whole other special scene. The pavilion's levels were numerous, too numerous to count. A spiral staircase linked each level, and each main hall was daunting. From the front gate of the main hall, each gate up required passage through winding, endless, innumerable halls. Su Xing looked and glimpsed 3 floors of this inconceivable pavilion set among the clouds and mist. Each floor had clearly different clear light. The first had turbid clear chi and the roars of demons and gods. The second floor's clear light flowed, clear voices chanting. And the highest floor was a mystery. He could not see it. Su Xing had seen countless of Liangshan continent's marvels. The Bright Moon Longevity Palace he had obtained was considered an incomparable masterpiece. He had thought that he was already accustomed to Liangshan continent's spectacles, but this pavilion that was too wonderful for words was shocking to the extreme, leaving them speechless. Not only Su Xing, but Hua Wanyue and Wu Xiao also were taken aback when they saw this expansive palace. The pavilions that were tall without end made them speechless. Su Xing saw that this place was appropriate for immortals, feeling more and more endlessly reverent. Something is not right about this place. Wu Xiao's eyesight was more keen than a hawk's. She saw through the mist and spotted several unusual clues in the palaces. I think so, too. It seems too quiet. Su Xing agreed. This green mountain and river ought to have been a satisfactory location. Cultivators would presumably be in large numbers, but right now, he could not feel any sign of life. The dead atmosphere was like a tomb, and even the sounds of the birds and monkeys were like cries of anguish. The atmosphere was incomparably strange. Su Xing's whole body was on guard, not daring to be neglectful. Hua Wanyue looked around and suddenly smiled. This too quiet is something you created. What? Su Xing and Wu Xiao were astonished. What's it got to do with me? Su Xing was confused. Although he was called a monster by people, on the basis of conscience, he had never committed anything that would offend heaven and reason. Besides, this was the first time he had ever seen such a spectacular hall. It could not be possible that when he appeared there really was something like, over 1,000 hills, no birds in flight, on myriads paths, not one footprint in sight, result, right? You dare say it is unrelated to you? Hua Wanyue did her best to restrain her delighted laughter. There are 5 big characters written on this palace. You must know which 5. Su Xing was then speechless. Clear void most high path. Hua Wanyue finally erupted into laughter. None other than the most high path. I never expected the double sevens to indeed be that old Taoist Northern Darkness plot. This place is the Azure Dragon Territory's famous Three Clarities Field. Su Xing smiled dryly. He never expected that this was surprisingly the most high path's domain, the Three Clarities Field. No wonder that palace was incomparable. It was worthy of the title of Azure Dragon Territory's number 1. And ever since the Crystal Dragon Palace affair, the Most High Path was sealed up. The dead atmosphere was not a surprise. Lord Husband, since this is the Three Clarities Field, it appears that this was indeed a trap. Wu Xiao said. But the double sevens is nevertheless real. Hua Wanyue brought out the double 7, a token-like object. The directions upon it indeed instructed them to the highest level of the palace. Star maidens possessed unmatched ability to understand astral treasures. Hua Wanyue was certain that this double 7 was indeed related to them. It was absolutely impossible to be a work of Liangshan continent. At the very least, this double 7 should have appeared when the birth treasure outline did. What now, my lord, do you dare enter the tiger's den? Hua Wanyue glanced provocatively at him. Those 2 words, my lord, were spat with particular emphasis. She was extremely afraid that Su Xing would sound a retreat and return to the Alliance of 10 conference, so she used reverse psychology. Xiao, Wanyue. So long as you are willing, then I will naturally am willing to accompany you. Su Xing heroically answered. The Most High Path has taken great pains against me. At any rate, I should pay a visit to personally thank them. Wu Xiao could not help but chuckle. She gently shook her head and calmly stated, your servant is willing to follow Lord Husband to the ends of the earth. Now that the Most High Path had declined, it was already no longer an opponent. Even if there was northern darkness as fish, Wu Xiao would make him disappear forever. However, the only problem was the Most High Path's protective array. Although the pilgrim had the pilgrim's array innate skill, if that sort of powerful sect-guarding formation was in place, it would still be relatively problematic. On the contrary, it was the little Li Guang Hua Wanyue with the least to do with Su Xing who had the greatest trouble. I also want to see the might of this Azure Dragon Territory's #1 path. Hua Wanyue pulled the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow, pointing into the distance, her eyes like a divine eagle's, sharp. A stray strand of hair lay across her lips. She pulled her bow into a full moon, forming a breathtaking curve. Pa! The bowstring snapped back, a crisp sound. An arrow shot forth, wrapped in unstoppable, mountain-toppling, unrivaled power. The quiet mountain range was abruptly roused by this arrow. The mist was blown away, and the sea of trees swayed. Boom! The 10,000-li god-killing arrow sunk into the palace's signboard. The formation sealing the mountain surprisingly toppled and disintegrated as easily as blowing dust off a book. Milord, after you. Hua Wanyue's smile was full of charm and provocation. Su Xing's heart thumped, and he laughed aloud, not hesitating to fly into the Three Clarities field. Far away, a green mountain shook furiously. Meanwhile, at the Alliance of 10 conference, Su Xing was currently scouting the information Wu Xinjie relayed to her. According to the approximate description, she was searching for the fourth overlord's figure. The Thief Star's scouting abilities were considered top-notch among Maiden Mountain sisters, while her martial force and magic energy were not particularly outstanding. But scouting information was a talent that Shi Yuan took pride in. The figure of Shi Yuan dressed in a black skin-tight jumpsuit was overwhelmingly sexy, but in the crowd, she moved about as she pleased, as if she was a spider in a corner that no one noticed. Furthermore, in their negligence, she used her excellent hiding ability to weave an inescapable net, capturing all information. Not a moment later, Shi Yuan already found the target. A group of one plainly dressed girl, one woman in a noble palace dress, and a paunchy man with a face full of fortune was particularly noticeable, no matter how it was put. Shi Yuan fully used wind-chasing shadow hiding to tail behind them, observing their movements the entire way. She tailed them for a short while. Shi Yuan felt the opposition did not bring her too much pressure. They were far from as overbearing as the previous overlords, who made her feel unable to breathe. The Thief Star's eyeballs spun about, and her heart had a bold idea. She brought out the hoodwinking flying claws, and Shi Yuan soundlessly closed in. Old Pig, Tao Fenghua, Yu Qingshang talked and laughed as they walked. After they parted from the Yu Dragon School's elder, they circled around again. The Alliance of 10 conference at this time already was nearly about to begin. The White Horse Highlands had assembled several million cultivators. Old Pig had also investigated information about the Purple Thunder monster, but rumors were surprisingly most of what he had heard. Other than making him feel their repulsive respect and adoration, he did not obtain anything useful. Feeling that things were noisy, Tao Fenghua and Yu Qingshang at this time were drawn over by some other things. Old Pig wandered about alone through several avenues and came to an alleyway. After taking several dozen steps, Old Pig suddenly stopped and turned his head back to the open alley behind him. Those friendly little eyes did not show any hostility. Your distinguished self has followed me for so long, should it not be time to show yourself? Now that I am alone. Old Pig cupped his fist. At this moment, his eyes flashed a bone-chilling cold. You noticed? Shi Yuan cried out in astonishment. A black shadow suddenly appeared to Old Pig's right. Its speed was like an assassin. Old Pig waved his hand, having already anticipated this. His palm struck. Bang! The shadow dispersed. It was surprisingly a black rabbit. Old Pig was stunned. Killing intent suddenly appeared, and the true murderous aura began from his left. You guessed wrong. Shi Yuan showed killing intent, manifesting her figure, but because she had the Three Burrows crafty rabbit as cover, she successfully created a diversion that made Old Pig fail. How could Shi Yuan ever let go of this opportunity? The hoodwinking flying claws were like two serpents, intersecting each other to bite at Old Pig's neck. Old Pig raised his hand, a pleasant countenance still upon his face, but that ordinary long robe covering him abruptly released spiritual light. A true dragon specter flowed around his whole body. This was its ability, take the king's robe. The hoodwinking flying claws crisply rang as they knocked against it and were deflected. Shi Yuan gasped, for she did not expect the opponent to be able to erect a defense so quickly. But Shi Yuan was not finished yet. This young lady has a trump card, too. Watch this. Shi Yuan's hand shook, and she activated the astral treasure that Tang Lianxin had custom-made for her, the 10,000 thread strand. 2. A white string was spat out, and it instantly expanded, tying up Old Pig. The 10,000 thread strand's spiritual light squeezed, inhibiting Old Pig's counterattack. Shi Yuan seized her chance to push the attack. She took a step back and took out a puppet banner, shouting, 5 poisons array. The 5 poisons puppets she had rushed to set up earlier appeared one after another. A 5 poisons array suddenly formed. The little thief is smart. Old Pig was surprised. The tricks the girl in front of him were considered thorough, which caught him off guard. She had surprisingly already known that he would show his hand in this alley and laid a trap beforehand. Even he did not sense it. He saw that this 5 poisons array had rolling poison gas, torrential. Old Pig was well aware of this array's might, and he no longer dared to slight her. The 5 poisons puppets array sprayed out 5 kinds of poison gas, engendering and restricting one another, extremely harmful to anyone, even a star general. Did it work? Shi Yuan's eyes lit up. The true dragon hissed, scattering the poison fog. That fatso surprisingly laughed innocently, innocuous, and that spiritual robe upon him radiated light, imposing. The 5 poisons were unable to touch him. Not good, I can't beat him. Shi Yuan immediately thought of fleeing. Stay a while. Old Pig slightly smiled. Even if Old Pig's appearance was conspicuously straightforward, to be able to become an overlord, how could he have any magnanimity? If he so much as wished to kill, the more he appeared sincere, the more savage he was to the bone. Old Pig urged on his sword chant, using the ancient Dragon Mountain Yellow Dragon sword chant. 200 flying swords formed 2 yellow dragons, already pouncing through a rolling cloud of yellow mist. Seeing their impending ferocity, the 2 yellow dragons tore the 5 poisons puppets to pieces. Shi Yuan's heart broke at that sight. She hastily pointed her finger, and the 2 3-star hoodwinking flying claws flew out. Although they were not as powerful as a flying sword, they still were the destined star weapon of a star maiden. Her flying claws burst with light. They were like serpents weaving about, rolling up the 2 yellow dragons. Shi Yuan took advantage of this to immediately recall the 5 poisons puppets. This was something that Su Xing collected with great difficulty. Old Pig was unfazed. He formed hand seals, and 9 yellow dragons then flew out from the fog. They clawed at Shi Yuan together, and inside that yellow fog of spirit light, Old Pig's expression was unperturbed, smiling wholeheartedly, an ancient and warm-hearted appearance, as if he was sure Shi Yuan had nowhere to run. His expression showed vague malevolence. Old Pig was a true spirit of Maiden Mountain. When he learned about the endings of the overlords, his heart was even more ruthless than before. And because he learned his sect had been destroyed, a fury was hidden in his heart that had nothing to vent against. Now that he had sustained Shi Yuan's attack, this was just like lighting a powder peg. Suffering Shi Yuan's 5 poisons array, he surprisingly did not know pain, and he did not fear wasting spiritual power. He blindly urged forth the Take the King's Robe and Yellow Dragon sword chant, forming 9 yellow dragons, covering the area like a net that concealed the sky. The 5 poisons puppet was heavily damaged. The meticulously forged 10,000 thread strand was even more damaged. When Shi Yuan saw her opponent was so ferocious, like a mad tiger, she did not dare be arrogant. She surreptitiously circulated her star energy, not hesitating to use her earth rank technique, up heaven down hell. 3. The thief star's figure vanished, spinning just like a top, directly escaping the yellow dragon sword array's net. While Old Pig was enraged all in all, he was not deranged. So as to avoid drawing attention, he held back. Now that he saw Shi Yuan use her earth rank to escape, his heart was inwardly amazed, but his expression was still awfully calm and collected. Shi Yuan's up heaven down hell could instantly flee any battlefield, and Liangshan continent's most brilliant escape techniques could not compare. Thus, only then did Shi Yuan dare pick a fight with the fourth overlord. Seeing that the opponent was not chasing, she thought he had given up. Just at this moment, two figures emerged. Since you have acted against us, then you need to be properly taught a lesson. A heavenly voice suddenly chimed in the surroundings. Tao Fenghua and Yu Qingshang appeared. Yu Qingshang brought out a flute with 6 flowing stars and began playing. The wonderful flute melody directly pierced Shi Yuan's ears. Shi Yuan's speed could not be any faster, but this flute was very sudden. When Shi Yuan heard it, an immortal cloud of clear qi seemed to appear in front of her and wrap around her whole body. This profound cloud was incomparably viscous and inseparably close, constricting her whole body. She could not move a single step. The up heaven down hell earth rank was surprisingly broken by a glimpse of her flute. So powerful. Shi Yuan was astonished. At this moment, several yellow dragons already rolled in front of her. Shi Yuan screamed. Just at this moment, an eastern wind blew. Black arrows erupted, and a wretched wind sneak attacked. They shot directly from behind Shi Yuan straight into the yellow dragon flying swords. The black arrows and the yellow dragons clashed, stopping the yellow dragons. Shi Yuan seized upon this opportunity, no longer daring to be presumptuous. She again used the earth rank up heaven down hell. On the other side, Old Pig was surprised to see his flying swords be obstructed. Just at this moment, several black arrows whistled towards him. He heard an evil wind whoosh, and the cold air was profound. He grinned evilly continuously. The speed of these arrows made Old Pig unable to react. However, faster than these arrows, 2 shields shaped like phoenixes suddenly appeared and spun, blocking the black arrows. Tao Fenghua pointed her hand, protecting Old Pig. At the same time, her brows rose. A sneak attack, truly you have no sense of shame. The sneak attacker wore a disgusting mask and rode upon an ugly beast. Her wonderful curves of her body were clearly outlined, but her accessories and her mount both appeared grotesque. They were, in a word, ugly. So ugly, you must be ugly prince consort. Tao Fenghua said. Xian Yunsheng pulled her demon bow to once again use east wind breaks. Although the black arrows were fast, their trajectories tricky and strange, Tao Fenghua did not bother evading at all. The girl was calm and unruffled, crossing her arms in front of her chest. 2 identical gorgeous phoenix shields appeared around her body, easily intercepting the dark technique. Watch this earth technique. Xian Yunsheng did not hesitate to use her earth technique. Death ghosts. The demon bow and monster arrow combined. She pulled the bow, and the arrow became demons and monsters. Countless shadows showered down from all directions. These arrow shadows were not ordinary arrow shadows at all. They were just like demons, with intelligence, focusing on weak points. For a time, the arrow shadows linked into a net shape and descended. Secure as a fortress. Tao Fenghua arrogantly raised her chest. The 6-star Feng armor Huang shield blazed with gorgeous flames, standing upright in the surroundings. The Feng armor Huang shield released a specter that established a ring, protecting the 3 of them. Just by using a dark rank, she dispersed an earth rank. All of the death ghost's attack power successively struck upon the shield, easily deflected by the flames. Xian Yunsheng was glum to find her earth rank was unable to produce even a splash. Not good. Xian Yunsheng at this moment sensed danger. Old Pig's eyebrows rose. 2 yellow dragons shot straight into the clouds, and then they twisted towards Xian Yunsheng. The girl was unable to block this at all. She was ground by the flying swords. Even the beast flower tribute beneath her legs let out its demonic might, helping its master ward off this disaster. Xian Yunsheng saw flower tribute get ground apart, and her heart was extremely distressed. She knew that this apparently unremarkable team was exceptionally fierce. She immediately thought of retreating. Yu Qingsheng played a tune. It blew with the wind, leisurely entering the mind. It made Xian Yunshang's internal organs feel as though they were being ripped apart. The girl immediately felt her body was about to disintegrate, and she had a premonition of death. Before she could even probe that man, how could Yunshang's star fall here? Xian Yunshang was unresigned at this time, but immediately afterwards a bolt of yellow thunder rolled, scattering her consciousness. The entire process happened in a matter of seconds. The star generals had already traded blows, and all of their power had been transmitted. After Flower Tribute was killed, Old Pig discovered that Xian Yunshang had already disappeared. It seemed that she had been saved. Shall we pursue? Yu Qingsheng calmly asked. When she activated her heaven rank, those two sisters would not be able to escape at all. No need. It would be better to not interfere with the star duels. His fury abated, and Old Pig instead calmed down. He felt there was no need to create side issues. However, what happened a moment ago was indeed interesting, making Old Pig unable to help but remember the wretched scene in the star duels. Particularly when he killed hero star Little Li Guang Hualan Meng. 5. If we destroy these star duels, Fenghuang, Qingsheng, what do you feel Maiden Mountain will do? Old Pig smiled. This is perfect to put Chao Gai on the spot. Tao Fenghu raised her hand in favor. N. Old Pig gazed into the distance, his king's robe tranquil. However, first of all, we had better make these Azure Dragon territory cultivators recognize the might of my Yu Dragon School. He murmured. Xinjia, how have you prepared to face the fourth overlord? Lin Yingmei wiped her spear, raising her head to ask. Wu Xinjie returned her gaze and smiled. If things are within my expectations, the fourth overlord should be 2 earthly stars. Although they have powerful techniques the level of heaven rank, they are nothing more than non-martial star generals. We have a chance. Lin Yingmei, An Suan, and the others listened with rapt attention. Wu Xinjie explained. The reason she believed the fourth overlord was double earthly stars was because when she originally understood those star generals' background was also when Senior 9 Dragon sect was at its most powerful. He had received honor and support that no other star master had ever received, and because he himself had double earthly stars without any martial force, he was like a fish back in water during the star duels. He used every kind of relationship, schism or enticement on several powerful sects with strong martial generals. As expected, such a star master was able to be accomplished. Besides, even if he had 2 earthly stars, the combination of 9-tailed turtle and iron whistle still demonstrated strong points. 9-tailed turtle possessed the strongest defensive innate skill among Maiden Mountain star generals. She could persist in close range for a short time without defeat, and Iron Whistle's flute melody skill was exceptional. Inevitably, there would be unexpected aspects. In the end, the books then said this big brother Old Pig Star Master's 2 star generals comprehended a heaven-earth dark yellow. By doing so, it was not strange at all that he became overlord. In this way, Wu Xinjia's strategy was very simple. Make the earthly stars use their heaven ranks, then we will have a good chance to face them. Wu Xinjia smiled. A heaven rank technique was a star general's most powerful technique, a frightening legend in Liangshan continent. In Wu Xinjia's perspective, the fourth overlord's greatest issue was this heaven rank. If it was before, Wu Xinjia indeed would feel this was relatively troublesome, but it was perfect they encountered at the Alliance of 10 conference. Thus, the knowledge star saw an opportunity. An opportunity to make the opposition use their heaven rank first. Just as Lin Yingmei was about to clarify. Suddenly, the door opened. Shi Yuan staggered in, cutting a sorry figure as she entered. Yuan, what happened to you? An Suan cried out in alarm. Immediately, she began healing her wounds. Shi Yuan winced in pain and set the person she was carrying down on the bed. Is this ugly prince consort? Wu Xinjia looked in astonishment at the girl who was unconscious and cut a sorry figure. I don't know. Luckily, she saved me, otherwise, this young lady would be reporting in to Su Xing. Shi Yuan stuck out her tongue with lingering trepidation. Just what happened? Lin Yingmei tightly grasped the shaft of her spear. Shi Yuan explained the sequence of events from start to finish. After finding out about this, Wu Xinjia's eyes suddenly chilled. As expected, it is him. He is surprisingly so savage. Very good, Xinjia now is even more certain of victory. Outside the room, amidst the hubbub, the Alliance of 10 conference began. When Su Xing arrived at 3 Clarity's field, because of the 10,000 god-killing arrow, the most high path was already jolted. Countless cultivators urged on their flying swords, and sword lights flew out from every pavilion. However, compared to the expansive palaces, the number of cultivators was very lacking. When they spotted Su Xing's purple clothes, his whole body wreathed in billowing purple qi, with flashing thunder, these furious cultivators instantly fell into a state of helplessness. This scene was the purple thunder monster. Su Xing seemingly smiled. He used purple cloud and purple thunder to intimidate them a bit and avoid bringing himself trouble. Those domineering, arrogant cultivators subconsciously took several steps back. This scene was very strange. He was clearly the greatest enemy who caused the downfall of the Most High Path, but Su Xing's behavior was open without tricks. That he would appear of his own accord was outside of everyone's expectations. Those cultivators seemed like deferential subordinates welcoming his arrival. Finally, some cultivators could not endure any longer. Hey, Purple Thunder Monster, you surprisingly dare come to this sect? You truly are out of control. Several of them surrounded Su Xing, not letting him advance a step. Out of control, I only came to visit you all. Su Xing shrugged. His gaze swept over the 3 Clarity's field. Is this all of you? Does your distinguished self Su Xing wish to star duel with your servant? A smartly dressed youth walked out. All of the cultivators respectfully made way. That man was very charming, his attire elegant. His body was full of overwhelming vigor, and his cultivation was formidable. He floated in the air. Clearly, he was Supervoid stage. Su Xing recognized him. He was none other than Xie Yuan. I am looking for Northern Darkness. Su Xing had no ill will towards Xie Yuan, and he did not wish to struggle with him. Ancestral Master Northern Darkness is not here. Xie Yuan's eyebrows rose. If your Highness Su Xing does not want to star duel, then your servant must ask that you turn back, please. This sect has already sealed the mountain. Forgive the inhospitality. Although the other cultivators wished to speak up for Xie Yuan, seeing the 2 top-notch star generals Hua Wanyue and Wu Xiao, each and every one of them shrinked back. Then there is no other way. I have a map right here that seems to be pointing right to this place. Su Xing took out the 7, speaking apologetically, I will have to offend you, but because this is a relic of the star duels, Xie Yuan, is it possible to yield? How about I owe you a favor? Everyone stared at each other. They never imagined that the legendary Purple Thunder monster who killed even gods who obstructed him would be so easy to hold a conversation with. With his current power, there was no need to waste words on them. Even fighting them directly should have posed no problem for him. Besides, Xie Yuan was also a star master. He should have killed him right on the spot. Ho Rulan hopped out of the star nest. Her little hand tightly grabbed onto Xie Yuan's hem, somewhat afraid. Xie Yuan stroked her small hand and said to Su Xing, your servant is really sorry. No matter what, your distinguished self and this sect are like fire and water. I am unable to spare you this favor. Do you want a star duel? Hua Wanyue smiled. However, I do not wish to star duel with you. At the very least, you are not my enemy. Su Xing shook his head. He did not mind this at all. His body flashed away, flying directly towards 3 Clarity's field. Xie Yuan very quickly obstructed him. The handsome man's power was not weak. Su Xing's eyes looked about, and he smiled, Xie Yuan, you have also been called the #1 star master of the Azure Dragon territory. How about this, then? I have never traded blows with you before. Instead of a star duel, how about we have a competition? Competition? Your servant is very curious about you. If you can best me, your servant will immediately leave with his wives. But if you lose, then I ask Brother Zhenyuan not obstruct me. Su Xing earnestly said. Everyone in the world knows you have Lin Chong, an immemorial sword chant. How can Zhenyuan be your opponent? Xia Zhenyuan's honestly made Su Xing a bit surprised. Just as Su Xing wanted to say something, he was surprised to hear Xia Zhenyuan say, no matter, Zhenyuan does not view himself as an opponent for your distinguished self in the star duels, but since your distinguished self Su Xing has said as such, then Zhenyuan will not decline. I also want to compete against your distinguished self. Very good. Su Xing smiled. No one expected to see the battle between the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 Genius Star Master and the Purple Thunder Monster would develop like this. The two of them faced each other on a pair of peaks. One was calm, the other indifferent. Bang! A muffled noise. Xia Zhenyuan's figure became a shadow in midair that filled the sky and scattered everywhere. He loomed like black clouds bringing a storm. No one expected that Xia Zhenyuan would initiate, and not with a flying sword or a magic weapon. On the contrary, it was an attack of pure martial force. Su Xing knew that Xia Zhenyuan should be clear that he was no match in terms of flying swords and magic weapons. And as Ho Rulan's Star Master, he was confident that Xia Zhenyuan naturally would not neglect his own martial arts. Su Xing was very eager to see what level this unparalleled genius had. He then took action himself. Amidst the shadows, Xia Zhenyuan's figure brazenly rushed through, his elegant hair swept wildly, a faint green light in his eyes. In that instant, he was just like a swordsman. Even Wu Xiao was quite impressed with his courage. But when he saw his opponent, Su Xing was surprisingly calm as a dry well, his tranquility somewhat frightening. His hand formed into a claw, and Xia Zhenyuan attacked that enormous figure. However, in the several zhang of space, this hardly counted as anything to Su Xing, who ate contests of speed for snacks. Xia Zhenyuan attacked with strength, clashing against Su Xing's hands with metallic rings. Xia Zhenyuan's attack surprisingly could only advance a few shallow inches into the space around Su Xing. It was unable to proceed any further. A grinding wind pressure blasted forth from Xia Zhenyuan's fingers, startling Su Xing. Xia Zhenyuan formed a hand seal, and a green light exploded from his palm. Like a sharp sword, it pierced through and surprisingly breached Su Xing's supervoid spiritual pressure. Su Xing nodded. He had only been using his supervoid divine intent to probe just now. He did not expect Xia Zhenyuan would demonstrate quite skillfully, but this was far from enough. Su Xing's footwork changed like smoke, and his boxing technique was displayed. Like a giant mountain crumbling, there was an enormous noise. Flipping backwards with hardly any delay, Xia Zhenyuan already flew backwards far away. The corner of Su Xing's lips curled, and his footwork abruptly shifted. The Most High Path cultivators were shocked. His speed did not appear particularly fast in their eyes. But in their eyes, this kind of speed gave them a sort of illusion of stagnation they were unable to contend against. Xia Zhenyuan struck back and immediately used one of his powers. He opened a protective halo. The barrier shielded his body and immediately activated. On first contact, Su Xing's punch seemed to have sunk into the ocean, for there was no feedback. Su Xing was as unperturbed as before. He continuously punched, not giving his target any breathing room. The protective power's magic energy expenditure was too great, unable to be used for too long. A furious expression appeared upon Xia Zhenyuan's face. He took a large leap upwards. The ground shuddered. Xia Zhenyuan's figure completely gave a sort of illusory feeling in that moment, as if in that instant he had become a tower too high to scale. The enormous bulk also gave rise to a giant feeling of pressure. It was just like an ancient battle puppet. This appearance was enough to completely make a normal cultivator lose any desire to fight. This was only intimidation that Xie Zhenyuan produced using the spiritual pressure of his supervoid cultivation. But against Su Xing did not slow his movements at all. Xie Zhenyuan sharply roared. An enormous palm swept over every path Su Xing could advance along. A terrifying force brought intense wind pressure, shooting in all directions like blades. Countless fragments instantly already locked all of space. Such a tyrannical assault style. Su Xing was slightly astonished, and his body techniques changed. Su Xing ignored these wind pressure fragments. His entire person instantly stuck close along the ground, as if he was a flying fish skimming the water's surface. His speed increased another level. The countless fragments in front of him seemed to not exist. This scene left everyone dumbfounded. Just like a cloud of drifting smoke. But the actual killing move absolutely was not these seeming fragments of wind pressure. Rather, it was the palm chop that Xie Zhenyuan had already fully charged. In the powerful wind pressure, Su Xing's figure was like a sea swallow plunging through a torrential downpour. Xie Zhenyuan's palm chop already slashed down heavily. Most high indifference. Most high emotion severing palm. Bang! A sudden explosion. Su Xing and Xie Zhenyuan clashed forcefully. Xie Zhenyuan's complexion changed. He surprisingly could not seize any advantage. This was too inconceivable. And Xie Zhenyuan's power similarly made Su Xing surprised. He did not expect this seemingly courteous man would surprisingly possess such powerful fighting ability. Not only was he not at a disadvantage against his own attacks, he had signs of one who could surpass his master. As expected of the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 Genius Star Master. Only after probing did Su Xing realize he could not be underestimated. Su Xing thought this to himself. Xie Zhenyuan knew Su Xing's might. He wanted to seize this chance to defeat Su Xing in a spurt of energy while he still felt him arrogant. He absolutely did not permit any hesitation to occur. Just when he pulled a distance away from Su Xing, Xie Zhenyuan's hands blocked, and a green light bubbled forth from his hands. This light sparkled, permeating his body. Xie Zhenyuan's fingers snapped, once again using a power. Extreme Clarity Immortal Light. This ability not only increased his own speed when it seeped into his body, it could even offer Xie Zhenyuan considerable amplification in his strength. Using this ability often could make Xie Zhenyuan reach frightening speeds. Under the support of such speed, even a tree leaf could become a blade that no obstacle could stop, incomparable in might. When he saw that green light glow, Su Xing did not dare be neglectful. His hands instantly assumed a defensive stance in front of his chest. This Xie Zhenyuan actually is somewhat outstanding. Hua Wanhua softly said. As if Wu Xiao had anticipated, her expression was very tranquil. The green light passed by in an instant. The extreme clarity immortal light very quickly swept over. With a bitter gasp, Su Xing could only feel all of his meridians and bones feel about to be consumed by this terrifying immortal light. With powerful speed and terrible wounds, Su Xing's body could only struggle. Just as he was about to be completely trapped by this extreme clarity immortal light, Su Xing grit his teeth and suddenly jumped. He shouted, braced his right leg, and unimaginably resisted this extreme clarity immortal light. At the same time, Purple Fiend also fired. It became thousands of bolts that clashed with the extreme clarity immortal light, but it appeared that the purple thunder Su Xing cultivated was more menacing. It instantly broke Xie Zhenyuan's power. Blood endlessly splattered from Xie Zhenyuan's body. Su Xing's attack with the purple fiend was just like a grinding machine continuously twisting him. This gave anyone who saw it goosebumps. Zhenyuan. Each and every one of the most high cultivators were anxious. Seeing this scene made their hearts twist in pain. It was very clear that Xie Zhenyuan was already at a disadvantage. Su Xing growled continuously, not stopping his rush towards Xie Zhenyuan. Xie Zhenyuan firmly resisted, his arms faintly dispersing the force. Everyone stared intently at this 1 second. Roar! Su Xing suddenly shot upwards, soaring just like a rocket and circle like a hawk. Xia Zhenyuan was pushed back by the recoil. This Azure Dragon Territory genius full of honor was pushed back several dozen meters. When he raised his head to look, he heard a whistling wind tear at him. If it was anyone else, most people would assume a defense or certainly evade. But Xia Zhenyuan did not do this at all. He thought rapidly, and he already saw through the terror of Su Xing's attack. Any dodging would only bring trouble. Like Su Xing, Xia Zhenyuan put his arms in front of him, adopting a similar defensive stance. Just at this moment, Su Xing's punch landed. Xia Zhenyuan did not feel the power of the first punch was that formidable, but he immediately realized what part of it was terrifying. After he diverted the punch's power, Xia Zhenyuan was already preparing to launch a counterattack when at this moment, the air current from Su Xing's fist slammed into his body wave after wave. The power each wave brought was surprisingly unreasonable, like an endless bombardment of tidal waves. Xia Zhenyuan groaned, vomiting blood. He was sent flying away, but midway, he flipped, enduring the strain of the force and forcibly launched his counterattack. The first time these two clashed brought the cultivators incomparable shock. This was a contest of Star Master's martial prowess. This was the first time they had a clear view of the senior brother who was normally gentle and warm. Even if he appeared amiable, they knew now that their senior brother was already high above them. Even if he was facing the purple thunder monster, each attack was extraordinarily tyrannical, full of an unparalleled ferocity and terror. This absolutely was not a contest between weakling. It was completely a reflection of the dreams of the strong. Su Xing's eyes glinted. That kind of terrifying speed, instantaneous attacks with full power, the everything of everything. Their fighting styles were so similar, but the fighting intent each of them revealed was starkly different. This Most High Path Star Master is honestly impressive. Hua Wanyue had originally looked down on the Most High Path. Now, seeing Xia Zhenyuan's display of power, she could not help but change her previous impressions. Although she still felt that this Most High Path was a bit unbearable, she at least felt no qualms about his reputation as the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 Star Master. Seeing him protect a Star General, he should not be so weak. This man has ambition. Wu Xiao was not pleased. Both sides paused for merely a few seconds, a glint in their eyes. In an instant, that frontal assault already descended upon Xia Zhenyuan. Xia Zhenyuan sneered, and a metallic ring resounded. Su Xing's attack surprisingly could only breach half an inch into the space around Xia Zhenyuan, unable to push in further. A sort of grinding wind pressure burst out from Su Xing's fingers. Surprisingly, Xia Zhenyuan had similarly used Supervoid Divine Intent to inhibit Su Xing's attack, precisely the same method. Su Xing hardly hesitated to sidestep. He then already leapt far backwards. Under this kind of defense, any delay would have been meaningless. Su Xing's judgment was absolutely correct, but it was very clear that Xia Zhenyuan had anticipated this. The corner of his mouth curled, and he suddenly set his pace in motion. What's going on? Su Xing suddenly found that Xia Zhenyuan's speed instantly accelerated. The extreme clarity immortal light in his hand struck consecutively. This time, it formed a canopy, and then countless fist-sized balls of light rained down. Extreme clarity fall. Xia Zhenyuan sneered, his fist shadows wildly swinging. A disordered heap of extreme clarity immortal light rained down without any particular target. Su Xing immediately surged Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder to counter. But in comparing their punches, Xia Zhenyuan honestly was not his opponent. Su Xing's figure drew thin, instantly arriving in front of him. His boxing stumbled. Xia Zhenyuan continuously stepped backwards to dissipate the force of Su Xing's punches, otherwise the protective immortal light perhaps would shatter. Xia Zhenyuan certainly still remembered Su Xing's powerful martial arts. The scene from before was fresh on his mind. Both sides practically demonstrated a beautiful and wonderful battle. Xia Zhenyuan apparently was very impatient. He retreated and slid backwards. Su Xing had been waiting for this moment. He swiftly rushed forward, like an arrow loosed from its string. Humph, Xia Zhenyuan sneered. All of a sudden, Su Xing shifted. Light smoke dance steps. Everyone nearly gasped, for they were captivated by these dance steps. Against other martial artists, Xia Zhenyue could not easily be defeated, for he was the most outstanding star master of the new generation. That absolutely was not a boast. In that moment that Su Xing changed directions, Xia Zhenyuan also shifted with similar speed. In an instant, their figures were light lightning, dueling repeatedly with high-speed movement. Each movement was swift, each technique ingenious, their strength vicious, making all of the cultivators stunned. Hey! Hey! A low shout echoed through the sky. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Each step the two took seemed as heavy as 1,000 caddies, sinking deeply into the earth. A thin airflow at some point in time had appeared in their surroundings. Ascending upwards in a corkscrew formation, soundlessly. Each of their chests heaved intensely, the sounds of their breathing increasingly labored. After a few steps, they once again raised a fierce assault. Xia Zhenyuan's body attacked vigorously like a spring, his fist seemingly carrying a fragment of starlight. With several large strides, he already crossed the space between them. His body fiercely leaned, sticking out his shoulder. In that instant, he was like a human weapon, carrying an intense wind presser. He once again ruthlessly slammed into Su Xing's position. Su Xing nevertheless met this attack, surprisingly not shrinking back at all. Why does he not retreat? The Most High Path cultivators' mouths hung agape. Not only him, but anyone with a bit of experience could discern that with Su Xing's reaction and speed, evasion was not impossible at all. But Su Xing did not carry through with this. He merely used his left hand to catch this fist. A powerful force in that instantly nearly made Su Xing hurt a bit, but he nevertheless endured it. Humph. Xia Zhenyuan felt his opponent was too stupid. He was prepared to make his opponent know the price for underestimating him. The current him was nevertheless completely still outstanding. The air surrounding him stopped flowing, and flames already extinguished. Xia Zhenyuan practically already sensed impending danger. But it was already too late. Xia Zhenyuan's fully charged punch immediately stopped. He was astonished to see that Su Xing had suddenly become like a malevolent demon. Not good. Danger flashed past his mind, and Xia Zhenyuan shouted to himself. He hastily stepped back. Too late. Su Xing already matched his rhythm, lifting his palm, his fingers forming a claw. He sent Xia Zhenyuan flying. In this instant, Xia Zhenyuan could not get back up. Everyone held their breath. The air turned cold. In their imagination, the purple thunder monster easily won, but Xia Zhenyuan's display made them give him a whole new level of respect. Zhenyuan. Ho Rulan nervously ran over to support Xia Zhenyuan. Xia Zhenyuan's mouth was full of blood. The organs in his body seemed to have been shaken apart, it hurt so much. Many thanks for starting off leniently. Xia Zhenyuan cupped his fist. The Most High Path's cultivators originally hated Su Xing to the bone, but seeing this battle, they each looked at one another, not daring to believe this. This purple thunder monster surprisingly actually did not kill Xia Zhenyuan. This honestly was not the style of a star master. No matter what, as the reason for the Most High Path's decline, Xia Zhenyuan had to have extreme hatred for him as a disciple of the Most High Path. Truly boring righteousness. Far away, the Bing Qingxian who watched everything smirked. You are quite strong. Su Xing had originally wanted to say some words of cooperation, but thinking of this place, he dismissed the idea. Perhaps after the heavenly books, this Xia Zhenyuan may perhaps be sensible. Seeing Ho Rulan's concern for Xia Zhenyuan, Su Xing thought of Tang Tang, and his favorability increased several times. What a purple thunder saint! Are you putting on another farce to pull at the heartstrings? With a cold laugh like thunder, a green-robed old man abruptly appeared. Wu Xiao and Hua Wanyue immediately drew their weapons. So you finally decided to show yourself? Su Xing had anticipated this as he disapprovingly sneered. The newcomer. Northern darkness has fish. White Horse Highlands. Following Emperor Liang appearing riding his imperial chariot, all of the cultivators could not help but maintain calm. Old Pig was among them, but compared to the tranquility of the other cultivators, he had even more killing intent. Emperor Liang sat at the highest seat above facing the millions of cultivators, very stern. Everyone maintained silence. Emperor Liang said a few words to the great ancestral masters of the other sects, and then he convened the Alliance of 10 conference. This time, the Most High Path is absent. All fellows who wish to challenge the Alliance of 10 position may. Then, first of all shall be a challenge for the 4 great sword sects. Emperor Liang ordered. Everyone gasped. Due to the blooming water sword sect's decline, this 4 great sword sect position was also coveted by countless sections. Very quickly, sects took the stage, each dispatching a disciple to compete. Old Pig calmly watched the battles, not in any rush to take the stage. This actually made the U-Dragon School's headmaster burn anxiously. Just at this moment, a few trivial conversations began near Old Pig. 1. SFX right arrow curving left 2. Lit. 10,000 threads, 1,000 strands right arrow curving left 3. Right arrow curving left 4. Lit. Ghosts that spirit away the souls of the dead. Right arrow curving left 5. Did you hear? A cultivator had an outburst just now at the White Horse restaurant. Oh, is this not very normal? But that cultivator surprisingly uttered some grand words. He wants to unify the Alliance of 10, vie for the one path position. And he wants us to watch. Right, that cultivator seemed to come from the U-Dragon School. The U-Dragon School. Never heard of it. Me neither. Afterwards, I asked around, and it seems to come from Senior 9 Dragon's great sect. They have a powerful double-star master. An arrogant little sect. They are always like this. Brother, is there any real need to concern yourself with them? Ha, ha. The U-Dragon School. I know of them. That sect's headmaster originally was a fool, wasting all of his power to raise a Star Master. When the time came for the Star Masters to ascend Maiden Mountain, it was viewed poorly by other sects and subsequently annihilated. This kind of sect is surprisingly still around, huh? Let him come out then. I, the Leisurer Dark Birth, want to taste the flavor of such a destroyed sect. Ha, 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 me, too. At some point in time, the Alliance of 10 conference already was quietly relaying the information the U-Dragon School disciple had hooted to Emperor Liang and the 10 great sects. Originally, this kind of matter would not amount to much, maybe a topic people would chat about after lunch, but that belligerent U-Dragon School disciple surprisingly declared something about vying for the head of the Azure Dragon, the One Path. Furthermore, he also said something about the sects that originally encircled and annihilated the U-Dragon School ought to wash their necks in preparation for beheading. These words were unpleasant. Liangshan Continent's cultivators that had a bit of knowledge were all aware of what had happened to Senior 9 Dragons. Naturally, they also knew the course of their destruction, especially the U-Dragon School that had been well known. It was because of this that the sect that had been able to raise a Star Master capable of ascending Maiden Mountain had collapsed in just a few short years. They could even be said to be an object of ridicule, thus, he gave many sects a warning. These rumors were increasingly unpleasant to the ear, and eventually, countless cultivators in the conference already showed expressions of contempt, saying something that if he was to dare take the stage, they would first take him down. Old Pig was calm when he heard this, but he said something to the U-Dragon headmaster. The U-Dragon headmaster inquired the other disciples, but the disciples each looking at one another and not one of them admitting they were the ones behind this made the U-Dragon headmaster fume and curse that disciple's stupidity, that he did not know his own strength, to have surprisingly said these things. Afterwards, he timidly glanced at Old Pig. The latter said nothing. On the contrary, he showed displeasure towards the discussions of those sections. These azure dragon cultivators truly are repulsive, to surprisingly insult us like this. Big brother, teach them a lesson. Tao Fenghu indignantly said. Yu Qingshang also coldly clanged around, old pig, there is no need for sympathy towards them. There is no need to mind them. Old pig slightly grinned as he waved his hand. His calm demeanor made the U-Dragon headmaster feel afraid. At this time, the competition on the stage was increasingly intense. Flying swords flew about, very noisy. The U-Dragon headmaster whispered, Senior, are we about to take the stage and contest for the 4 great sword sects? Due to the Alliance of 10 Conferences rule of 1 path, 2 halls, 3 palaces, for sword sects, a 4-sword sect required at least 1 supervoid cultivator as a guardian. Currently, the U-Dragon sect had only Old Pig as their sole supervoid late-stage senior, there was no one else. Old Pig narrowed his eyes and calmly said, Change of plans. I, Old Pig, am determined to fight for this 1 path and make this sect shock the world. The U-Dragon headmaster's mouth hung open. Although he felt Old Pig was very strong, the contests towards the end would practically all be battles between supervoid cultivators. The U-Dragon school did not have this strength. Old Pig has his own position. Old Pig said. Tao Fenghu and Yu Qingshang were slightly confused as to why Old Pig changed his view. The purple thunder monster is currently not in this place. Since that is the case, then I shall let these clowns be pleased with themselves just a little while longer. Old Pig said. They had descended from Maiden Mountain and were somewhat sensitive to the presence of the purple thunder monster himself. Currently, Old Pig was already sensing that the purple thunder monster would not appear at this Azure Dragon Territory Alliance of 10 conference, that he was somewhere several thousand li away, and that he had met with a bit of trouble. Old Pig had originally only wanted to make the U-Dragon school show a bit of might, to at the very least return to the Alliance of 10's lineup. Now that he heard these rumors, Old Pig changed his idea. He might as well bring the U-Dragon school to the top in a spurt of energy. Fenghuang will not oppose the decision Big Brother makes. Tao Fenghuang smiled. Yu Qingshang nodded in agreement. At this time, the one who started all the rumors watched in satisfaction at her scandalous masterpiece. Sister Xinjie, you're so awesome. I feel that those people are so pitiful. Before they've taken the stage, they're already being attacked on all sides. Shi Yuan was speechless. This is Hua Shue's work. Wu Xinjie smiled slightly. Hua Shue scratched its neck, showing a fox's natural charm. Against these cultivators, a tiny, little dazzling light mind image is enough. But can this actually make the 4th overlord use their heaven ranks? The warm as water Hun Yangzi gazed at a corner of the arena, suddenly turning her head to ask. Not yet. To make them use their heaven ranks, these cultivators do not have the qualifications. Wu Xinjie placed her gaze on the highest platform. Including Emperor Liang, Immortal outside heaven and the other Azure Dragon Territory top-notch ancestors were still aloof. All of the girls showed curious expressions. A profound smile flit across Wu Xinjie's lips. Now should be the time we take the stage. The 4 great sword sects are already split into 3 sword sects. The Huanzhen school, too, is worthy of being called an up-and-comer. Now, the last sword sect, the Blooming Water Sword sect, has already fallen behind. What other sects that would fight for this? A cultivator of the imperial court shouted with a voice like a bell, shaking everyone's ears and blinding them. The Huanzhen school's cultivators arrogantly glanced at everyone present. Their Huanzhen flying sword abilities were considered at the peak of perfection, and sect leaders' supervoid early-stage cultivation was truly astonishing. There is also this sect. Just when everyone had thought that the Huanzhen men had successfully become the Huanzhen sword sect of the 4 great sword sects, at this moment, there was suddenly a voice that rolled through the arena like spring thunder. Even Emperor Liang and the others that sat high atop the arena showed interested expressions. A row of people appeared in everyone's view. They wore red robes that were not too eye-catching, led by an old man with an expression showing experience and skill, brimming with a halo as if he had been reborn. His profound magic energy spread, and the beautiful young woman beside him was eye-catching. Her cultivation was impressive, a seemingly water-like flame spinning around her. Perhaps no one would recognize this old man, but this beauty was famous in the Azure Dragon territory. She was none other than a tool refinement sect master. Ju Yueka. The Four Styles School has come to fight. Ju Yueka slightly smiled. Northern Darkness has fish, I'm somewhat exhausted waiting for you. Su Xing laughed. Purple Thunder Monster, you truly are audacious, to surprisingly intrude into this sect. Could it be you truly believe this path will let you bully it? Northern Darkness has fish's expression was calm. Compared to the rage he had earlier when he saw Su Xing, the current him was much more hale and hearty, his expression radiant, as if everything was within the palm of his hand. Do you believe that you alone can destroy my most high path just by bringing a few star generals? Northern Darkness has fish's voice boomed like thunder, blasting the atmosphere. Several disciples felt dizzy. Although he exerted his supervoid late-stage spiritual pressure, the current Su Xing had a dozen star generals contracts. Let alone supervoid late-stage spiritual pressure, if a mighty transforming star of annihilation-level cultivator actually came, he would not be frightened. Although the Most High Path's 100 disciples wanted to bluff for the ancestor, they were helpless against the might of a supervoid cultivator and the aggression of top-notch star generals. But my wifey has the Pilgrim's Array innate skill? Don't tell me you think the Most High formation can trap me? Su Xing disapproved. What an arrogant monster, we shall see how much longer you can be arrogant. Northern Darkness has fish shouted furiously and abruptly formed a hand seal. A clear breeze suddenly gusted through the Three Clarities field, blowing away the clouds and mist. The first layer of clear light glowed, pushing towards Su Xing from all sides. The Most High Path's protective array immediately manifested. Lord Husband, be careful. Just as Wu Xiao wanted to shield Su Xing, boundless clear qi and clear light rolled forth, instantly covering the surroundings completely. Everything else disappeared. Su Xing's whole body billowed purple qi, not daring to be careless. A star crest flashed on Su Xing's forehead. The Pilgrim's Array innate skill activated, and Su Xing did not hesitate to take a quick step towards the center of the array. A ray of clear light smashed towards him like a heavy, iron staff, as if it was Gonggang smashing Mount Buzhou, dropping the heavens and firmly locking Su Xing. He was unable to evade, and from this move, Su Xing comprehended the might of the Most High Path's array. Su Xing used all his strength, shaking his purple qi. With a snapping sound, 12 rays of purple Y hovered around his body, flying out like arrows in succession. The purple qi was auspicious, surging forth without any weakness. What lay above the purple clouds simultaneously attacked. The Most High array spun all at once, breaking the purple clouds and swiftly thrusting for Su Xing's forehead. This was a move that spared no effort. The Most High Path's array was established using the Three Clarities, and with the limitless spiritual power of the surroundings as support, Su Xing felt as if several prehistoric spirit treasures were smashing him at the same time. Now, he again used all his strength, relying on his purple qi to resist, worried that he would be split apart. Just when the clear qi attacked, Northern Darkness has fish appeared at the same time, seizing the chance to kill in one stroke. A supreme grade sword chant spun out, and the clear light linked into a sharp line. Northern Darkness has fish was aware that Su Xing's powers and magic weapons were very strange, and he had star generals like Wu Song and Lin Chong for support. After the Crystal Dragon Palace, Northern Darkness has fish knew that any further mention of revenge could only be described as ridiculous. Because of this, Northern Darkness has fish staked everything on this. He used the Most High Path's protective array to delay Su Xing's star generals and then finish him off in a spurt of energy. However, 2 of Northern Darkness has fish's doppelgangers had been dispatched at the Crystal Dragon Palace by Kong Ho, and his vitality was greatly injured. Currently, his magic energy was far from peak state. He could barely use it to just barely bring any threat to Su Xing. Su Xing's heaven-tearing clashed with old Daoist Northern Darkness flying swords. In the gloom, mighty and vast magic energies collided. Immediately, there was a crash. The Most High array was formidable as expected. The powers protecting Su Xing's body and his flying swords were suppressed. Su Xing's wrist was numb, and he nearly could not stand steadily. Under this mutual clash, Northern Darkness has Fish's sneak attack nearly succeeded. This old man shall destroy you today. Northern Darkness has Fish seized his chance. He suddenly struck, and the extreme clarity immortal light drew a canopy. A sword light struck at Su Xing and shredded the extreme clarity immortal light. Your servant will take tooth for tooth. Wu Xiao walked out of the trapping array and arrived in front of Su Xing, coldly speaking. The Most High Path's protective array appeared, and the three clarities field was in disorder. Xia Zhenyuan took a deep breath. He then carried Ho Rulan a certain distance away, his eyes shining as his flying swords flew out at the same time. Somewhere else, Bing Qingxian still spectated with a cold eye. Master? Do we take action? Mu Qingying said coldly. The purple thunder monster is not so easy to face. Actually, that hero star is the current target. Bing Qingxian gazed at Hua Wanyue and showed a sinister expression. 1. Even if he is Super Void late stage and a star master, no one's going to recognize the victory of someone whose sect is basically on life support at this point. Right arrow curving left 2. Master, your servant, Mu Qingying prepared to watch for a chance at assassination. Do not move for the time being. Bing Qingxian eyed Su Xing, intrigued as he promptly stopped Mu Qingying. Bing Qingxian had his own shrewdness. He immediately thought that since the purple thunder monster dared to intrude into the Most High Path, he naturally would have come prepared. And the purple thunder monster knew of his identity. Naturally, he would constantly be on guard for the investigative star. If this was the case, the odds of an assassination was too remote. And now was before the 3 heavenly books. Mu Qingying's earth rank had not been comprehended yet. The risks of an assassination were too great, and if they failed, they would instead fall into the purple thunder monster's snare and be caught all in one go. Bing Qingxian had exchanged blows with Su Xing. Among all the star masters, he was the one who most understood the purple thunder monster. He was very lucid that this purple thunder monster was equal parts terrifying in both astuteness and composure. Perhaps the Most High Path had pulled a snake from its hole, allowing him entry. The more he thought of this, the more Bing Qingxian thought this was very likely, and he could not help but break into a cold sweat. Great plans can be ruined with just a touch of impatience. After the heavenly books, the purple thunder monster will inevitably become the eradication target of all star masters. When that time comes, we only need to wait for him to die. There is no need to take such a risk right now. Bing Qingxian said in a low voice, his eyes gazing at the chilling aura Xia Zhenyuan was emitting. Especially right now, he could not allow him to find out his identity. But the ancestral master? Mu Qingying said. Northern Darkness has Fish had already ordered Bing Qingxian to seek an opportunity for an assassination to settle this. This was perhaps not easy to handle. Bing Qingxian disdained this as beneath contempt. He showed a sneer. Northern Darkness is already in his death throes. Why is there any need for us to obey the commands of a dead man? Even if the purple thunder monster does not kill him, we will get rid of him sooner or later. Mu Qingying kept silent. She retracted her killing intent, solemnly assenting to her contractor's idea. Bing Qingxian did not know that this idea actually saved his life because Su Xing indeed had such a plan. While Su Xing and Northern Darkness has Fish battled, Darkness has Fish had already fought in the Crystal Dragon Palace against 3 great supervoids and had his doppelgangers slain by Kongho. His cultivation was greatly debilitated, having fallen into a trough. Su Xing, on the other hand, relied on that breathtaking 1,000-year contract he made in the end with Wu Xiao. Contrarily reaching a peak state, his cultivation had reached directly to supervoid middle stage. The two were opposites, their levels clear. Northern darkness has fishes flying swords and extreme clarity immortal light could only match against Su Xing's immemorial sword chant and purple mansion immortal thunder. Northern darkness has fish continuously relied upon the Most High Path's 3 clarities sect protecting seal, but it was a pity that Su Xing also had Wu Xiao's pilgrim's array innate skill, which eased most of the pressure. Add on that Wu Xiao was supporting him from nearby, Northern darkness has fish's resolve began to waver. And what made Northern darkness has fish furious was that brat, Bing Qingxian. Because he knew of Bing Qingshuan's identity, Northern darkness has fish had even ordered him beforehand to find a chance to assassinate the purple thunder monster, but after so long, there was surprisingly still no sign of activity, which made Northern darkness has fish endlessly irritated. While Su Xing battled Northern darkness has fish, he locked his divine intent on Hua Wanyue's vicinity, waiting for the Most High Path's assassin, but not seeing the assassin after several obvious opportunities made Su Xing quite glum. Suddenly at this moment, an ear-piercing whistle entered his ears. A heavenly rainbow beam fired, the colors enshrouding the 3 clarities field in multicolored radiance. This arrow pierced through Su Xing's heart, but there was no injury at all. On the contrary, the array inhibiting Su Xing vanished. Sun-piercing heavenly rainbow. Hua Wanyue could not stand to watch anymore. She used her earth rank, easily leveling the Most High Path's threat. Just how long will you dilly-dally? The hero star unhappily asked. Then, Hua Wanyue coldly pulled and aimed her bow at Northern darkness has fish. Her killing intent swelled. Earth rank. Northern darkness has fish's complexion changed. I've troubled you, Wanyue. Su Xing smiled. His gaze suddenly became stern. Following the sun-piercing heavenly rainbow's unrivaled rainbow luster, Su Xing leapt high up, his hand clenching. A broadsword with the circulating radiance of 5 stars suddenly manifested in his hand. An absolutely beautiful bird danced on the blade, and powerful killing intent wrapped around it. The entire Most High Path was shaken. That is, Xie Zhenyuan was astonished. The 5-star dragon sparrow Dulong saber. The fulfillment star's 5-star weapon, Bing Qingxian cried out, not daring to believe this. How can this be? Even the emotionless Mu Qingying was taken aback. To be capable of killing the fulfillment star wielding a 5-star destined weapon was not strange with Su Xing's abnormal strength, but what made them shocked was the way that destined weapon appeared. Star Masters could receive the destined star weapon of a star general they killed for their use in the star duels, so to be able to kill strong star generals meant that they would become even stronger. But for any Star Master to manifest the destined star weapon, they were required to sacrifice an amount of essence blood in order to form the star weapon. This essence blood was not much, yet it was enough to make a Star Master suffer a decrease in strength. But just now, Bing Qingxian and the others clearly saw Su Xing paid no price at all to wield the 5-star destined weapon. This completely ran contrary to the rules of the star duels. Chao Gai truly should cut this man to bits. Bing Qingshuan's face warped. Northern darkness has fish was shocked. Die. Su Xing was incomparably cold. He slashed with the freezing saber chi of Sparrow Drinks Winter Spring, the biting cold bursting forth and pouring into Northern darkness has fish's body. The ancestors' protective immortal light magic weapon could not stand against the might of a 5-star destined weapon. When Northern darkness has fish screamed, the saber chi burst open over his whole body. Northern darkness has fish was worthy of being called the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 supervoid cultivator. His divine intent moved, and the 3 clarities banner flapped over his chest. Boundless clear light blocked the dragon sparrow Dulong saber, but with this saber drawn, Su Xing was already as cold as a monster. A second and a third slash followed closely behind. At this time, Wu Xiao's black lotus flecked with snow and Hua Wanyue's 10,000-li god-killing arrow arrived at the same time, determined to take his life. This terrifying situation left the entire Most High Path's disciples only able to helplessly look on. With a crash, the 3 clarities banner finally could endure no further. The clear light broke, the banner ripped, and this famously supreme prehistoric spirit treasure of the spirit sealing list broke apart with a bang. Northern darkness has fish howled, double sevens. Hua Wanyue saw the double sevens token emit rays of light. Countless galaxies poured out from the double sevens, and before Hua Wanyue could react, she was sucked in towards the double sevens ruins at the highest point of the three clarities field. Ha, 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 this old man shall make you taste the feeling of losing your star generals. Northern darkness has fish was ecstatic when he saw this. Su Xing hacked off his right arm and was eyeing his heart when Northern darkness has fish immediately used an already prepared array to escape. Wanyue. Su Xing had no mood to concern himself with Northern darkness has fish's fate. He hastily flew up to grab Hua Wanyue. Hearing Northern darkness has fish's words about the double sevens, his heart immediately had a feeling of foreboding. Hua Wanyue was in a daze, only recovering her graceful expression after a long while. The river of stars rolled, taking Su Xing at the same time. In an instant, the both of them vanished together. In the sky, a crimson star slowly dimmed. Lord husband. Wu Xiao was stupefied. But no matter what she did, the double sevens ruins in the end still showed no signs of activity. At this point, Wu Xiao was a bit alarmed. Wu Xiao turned to gaze furiously at all of the Most High Path. What is the meaning of this? Her enraged expression seemed to say that if the Most High Path did not release Su Xing, the Harm Star would turn this Azure Dragon Territory No. 1 path into complete rubble. Everyone was shaken under the Harm Star's pressure. No one dared to reply. Let alone that the Most High disciples were even more depressed, their path's No. 1 ancestral master had been forced to flee before their eyes again, and the enemy surprisingly still menaced them. But they had no heart to resist at all. Killing intent rolled out from Wu Xiao, forming black lotuses in the surroundings. The Most High Path clearly sensed the terrifying killing intent contained in the black lotuses. Their hearts shivered, and the Most High Headmaster barely preserved some influence, saying, "Pilgrim Wusong, the grudge between this path's ancestral master and you does not concern us. Could it be you would raise your hand against us? Do you actually wish to go against the world?" Wu Xiao sent this headmaster that was still bluffing an expression of ridicule. A black demonic lotus flew towards the Most High Headmaster. The Most High Headmaster's flying swords and magic weapons moved to intercept, but the demonic lotuses bloomed, directly blasting upon him. Killing intent poured out, and the Most High Headmaster immediately felt like a leaf upon stormy waves, nearly disintegrating. Headmaster! The disciples were flabbergasted. The Most High Path Headmaster stumbled backwards, vomiting blood, his eyes overwhelmed and afraid. The Harm Star's Earth Rank Technique. Countless black demonic lotuses slowly bloomed in the several li around Wu Xiao. Snow-white spiritual light emitted from her sword, submerging the Most High Path in an eerie atmosphere. Harm Star, the double sevens is completely due to the ancestral master, we really did not know. Xie Zhenyuan stood out. Zhenyuan. Ho Rulan was frightened by Wu Xiao's murderous aura, yet she still guarded at his side. Wu Xiao disdainfully smiled. This sect knows that the double sevens token began when the double sevens ruins were obtained from a purple star treasure chest. Before this sect had always treated it as the root of a ley line, nothing more. Whatever the double sevens is, we truly are not clear. Ancestral Master Northern Darkness deliberately spread the rumors that it was an item capable of annulling contracts solely to draw you in here. Xie Zhenyuan explained. Elder sister, could it be you cannot sense his star nest? Ho Rulan timidly said. This was precisely what made Wu Xiao feel furious because she currently could not sense Su Xing's whereabouts at all. He was just like that crimson star in the sky, completely vanished. Then do not blame your servant if she needs to destroy the three clarities field to dig out Lord Husband. Wu Xiao shouted. The 100 black demonic lotuses simultaneously slammed towards the peak of the three clarities field. Wu Xiao's sword technique simultaneously mobilized. After an enormous rumble, the three clarities field was suddenly destroyed. The most high path disciples who looked on were furious but also helpless. This one never thought that the famous harm star pilgrim would lose her self-control over a single man. An indifferent voice descended from the heavens. You finally come. Wu Xiao seemed to have already anticipated this. Thousand Buddha star Chao Wuhui smiled. Xiao, your words sound like this one is apparently your lord husband's nanny. Enough bullshit. Just what the hell is this double sevens? This double sevens is unable to harm your lord husband's life, there is no need to worry. Chao Gai slightly smiled, the double sevens can allow a star master and an uncontracted star general enter it. After undergoing a trial, they will sign a third contract, that is all. This is indeed a very good thing. What? Sign a third contract? Correct. Liangshan continent star duels can only allow up to 2 contracted stars. This double sevens is used to contract a third star. Of course, it is not so perfect. If they fail the trial, then the star master and the star general will be forever unable to sign a contract. Furthermore, they will become enemies, a situation where only one may live. Chao Wuhui mockingly said, this double sevens is a ruin that, if it does not love you, it hates you. This actually dispenses with many of the ambiguities. Such a coercion on your part betrays the very ideal. What is the meaning of this? Wu Xiao angrily said. This one can understand your feelings, after all, your lord husband has already broken the rules and has no need for the double sevens. Chao Wuhui wrinkled her brow, but coercion, these words are mistaken. The double sevens have never been used to coerce. If it is not for the star general's own willingness, this will be impossible to occur. What you mean is. This one means, the hero star wishes to break off her relationship with your lord husband. Hearing these words, 2 words suddenly leapt into Wu Xiao's mind. Broken arrow. 1. Wu Xiao means Chao Gai and Maiden Mountain, not just Chao Gai. Wind, thunder, water, fire, restore Qian and Kuan. Taoist Master Xian Tian chanted, and the completely white sword in his hand quivered. 4 talisman scripts immediately morphed profoundly around the sword's tip. In a split second, astral wind, scorching flames, black ice, and a thunderclap burst out of the sword. The astral wind gusted, breaking through the 72 roads abilities. The flames burned, destroying every protective art. The black ice sealed, pinning the target in place. Lastly, the thunder attacked, twisting over towards its target that was helpless to attack, defend, or flee. The 4 styles of wind, thunder, water, and fire brought out the best in one another, coordinated with one another, exceptionally marvelous. Its endless intent to attack flowed continuously, mutually engendering and restraining each other. The Huanzhen headmaster could only barely fend this off, making all the cultivators watch dumbstruck. 4 styles Qian Kun sword. This is the 4 styles school's sect-protecting treasure. What a formidable magic weapon. These 4 styles spellcraft is really deserving of its reputation. And, they are far more formidable than that arrogant U-Dragon school. That kind of garbage sect can only hoot and holler. It is obvious that this 4 styles school has not revealed its talent, for it acts without being exceptional. Never heard of the 4 styles school. You must be ignorant. This was once among 9 dragon sections. The cultivators present hollered in satisfaction, crying out one after another. In his mind, the U-Dragon headmaster cursed, "You flock of fools gossip about our death as if that was perfectly normal." As he thought this, the U-Dragon headmaster watched the duel on the arena with an expression of envy. The 4 styles school competed against the Huanzhen sect for the title of 4 styles school. There were 3 contests, and they each had won one of the prior 2. The last match would decide the victor. The 2 great headmasters personally took action, and their styles were naturally extraordinary. The Huanzhen sect's 72 roads Huanzhen sword chant and the Four Styles School's Four Spirits Supreme Exalted Sword chant were not weak, but following the appearance of the Four Styles Qianquan sword that was famous in the Azure Dragon territory, the Huanzhen sect's supervoid magic weapon could not resist at all. The Yu Dragon School headmaster knew that the Four Styles School resided at Fire Eastern Island, relying on the topography to preserve itself relatively intact among the 9 dragon sects, but he had heard not so long ago that this Taoist master Xian Tian had been no more than at the supercluster late-stage bottleneck. He never imagined in a few months he would make a sudden breakthrough into Supervoid, making the Yu Dragon School's headmaster endlessly envious. But this school has senior old pig. The Four Styles School cannot compare to this school. The Yu Dragon School inwardly reckoned as he looked to old pig. The man narrowed his eyes, seemingly both asleep and awake, completely lacking even the slightest bit of vitality. His gaze occasionally swept over the cultivators present, the aura on his body brimming with killing intent that was condensed like swords. The Yu Dragon headmaster was even more delighted when he saw this. You foolish cultivators, do not hesitate to mock us then. If you anger us, this path's ancestor shall have you know his might. This sword is so incredible. Upon a pavilion, Wu Xinjie gazed at the Four Styles Qianquan sword in awe. I really couldn't tell. I even thought that the Four Styles School didn't have anything. Sure, Yuan nodded. The Four Styles School mainly cultivates the Four Symbols sword chant. Each of the sword chants have their own specialization. Although this Four Styles Qianquan sword will not place on the spirit ceiling list, it is forged from the extent of the Four Styles School's founder's comprehension of the four spirits. The average spirit treasure is basically no match. Tang Lianxin had stayed in the Four Styles School the longest, and she was the most understanding of the sect. So it turned out this Four Spirits sword chant is so powerful. And Suan had never heard of this before either. After all, this is one of 9 dragon sections. Wu Xinjie smiled. Tang Lianxin nodded. What elder brother cultivates is the immemorial Purple Star sword chant, so of course sisters would feel the Four Styles School is very weak. Back to the ring, at this time, the victor was already very clear. The Huanzhen headmaster resisted with all his might, using everything he had, but Taoist master Xian Tian had only just broke through to Supervoid. His vigor and mood had unprecedented confidence. This sect-protecting treasure in his hands was like a fish back in water. The duel was not to life or death, only to the extent of their abilities. How could the Huanzhen sect be the Four Styles School's opponent? Very quickly, the Huanzhen headmaster had no choice but to concede defeat. Congratulations. We now confer upon the Four Styles School ascension to the Four Styles Sword sect. Emperor Liang rose and addressed everyone present. Thus, on the first day of the Alliance of 10 conference, the 4 great sword sects were re-established. The Divine Flame Sword Sect, the Shifting Flower Sword Sect and the Tai Sword Sect relied on their strong foundations to maintain their positions as the 3 sword sections. The Blooming Water Sword Sect did not have a Supervoid cultivator and was finally supplanted by the Four Styles School, becoming the last sword sect, the Four Styles Sword Sect. However, because of the contest later for the 3 palaces, 2 halls, and even 1 path, there were still several variable before the Alliance of 10 conference would end. Lianxin, Xinjie will soon have to trouble you to plead with Taoist Master Xian Tian. Make them temporarily leave the White Horse Highlands for the nearby White Horse Ford to rest a while. Wu Xinjie turned her head to smile at Tang Lianxin. It is better that the Four Styles School does not participate in the most wonderful of shows. Tang Lianxin nodded, understanding her plan. Things are progressing smoothly as I imagined, but I wonder how smooth the progress between young Lord and Wanyue is. Wu Xinjie thought. As if he was rousing from sleep, Su Xing opened his eyes. A wonderful and classical silhouette appeared in his fuzzy line of sight. That figure was filled with dejection, moving farther and farther away. Wanyue, Su Xing recognized who this figure belonged to. In his heart, he was startled, and he hastily reached out his hand to grab her. And his hand grasped something soft. He heard a moan. Slap. His hand stung, and only then did Su Xing completely awaken. He saw Hua Wanyue currently glaring at him in embarrassment. In her anger was a distinct coquettishness. Hua Wanyue's hands covered her chest. Seeing her angry gaze, her blushing face, Su Xing immediately realized what that softness he had grabbed just now actually was. I thought you left. Su Xing blinked, pretending to have forgotten what happened just now. Hua Wanyue could not easily mention what happened either. She indignantly said, without you, how can I leave? Su Xing gasped, saying in embarrassment, Wanyue, you don't need to sound so charming. Hua Wanyue, see for yourself. Su Xing looked around the area and only then noticed that they were in a narrow cavern. There were two exits, one radiating white light, the other exit flowing with rainbow light, blinding. The white light did not have any restrictions, but only the Star Master could enter and exit. The rainbow light exit had a forbid dance only allowing entry to Star Master and Star General only if they both entered together. No wonder Hua Wanyue would say that. This double sevens is a relic of Star World. The interior is extremely perilous. Any Star Master that enters it will have their star nests frozen, the contracted Star Generals unable to assist you. Do you still plan to enter? Hua Wanyue asked. Relic of Star World? Su Xing listened, but to freeze or whatever the star nest honestly was a bit stranger. The double sevens token says that if a Star Master loses the protection of a Star General, there will a very great probability of death, but you can be at ease. If you actually die, your wives will only annul their contracts with you. Hua Wanyue continued to say. That's awfully thoughtful. Su Xing muttered. Hua Wanyue calmly said, there is still time for you if you return now. After all, there has never been record of a Star Master who left the double sevens alive, and you have so many, no need to think. Su Xing instantly grabbed Hua Wanyue's soft, jade hand without thinking. He allowed no argument as he pulled the woman towards the rainbow exit, his expression self-confident, completely unafraid. If I'm leaving, then we're leaving together. No record of anyone leaving alive, then I'll leave alive and show them. Hua Wanyue allowed Su Xing to pull her hand. Hearing these words, her chest suddenly felt hot. Her eyes were blinded, and the rainbow light receded. The scene that appeared before them made Su Xing and Hua Wanyue stupefied. Outside the cave was boundless world of black. Stars as large as the sun and moon stood motionless in the black world. Each giant star flickered with strange light, each displaying a unique splendor. The size of the stars made Su Xing and Hua Wanyue become as insignificant as dust. This kind of shocking scene made Su Xing recall the scene of being in deep space. What is this? Hua Wanyue had never seen such a magnificent scene. For a time, her chest felt tight. Su Xing was thinking, this can't be Liangshan continent's outer space, can it? A star is an individual world. However, upon closer inspection, he found that although these heavenly bodies were seemingly massive, they were formed from the conglomeration of every kind of substance. Rather than say this was the boundless cosmos, it was more like a strange array. As expected, the double sevens is somewhat interesting. Su Xing's blood boiled. Just at this moment, Hua Wanyue groaned and lost her strength. She fell towards the endless abyss. Su Xing moved in front of her and held Hua Wanyue's silky, nephrite body against his chest. What's the matter? My star energy is unable to be used. Hua Wanyue's breathing was ragged and faint. The star crest on her forehead flashed to reveal it was similarly frozen. The star energy flowing throughout her body had congealed after entering the double sevens. Hua Wanyue could not muster any strength. She could only barely use her white hand to hold onto Su Xing's shirt. This place is not good for Star Generals. Su Xing said, I'm bringing you to search for an exit right now. Hua Wanyue groaned. Su Xing hugged Hua Wanyue as he traveled back and forth among the heavenly bodies. The deep black world was deathly silent. Su Xing was quite enraptured by the weak appearance of Hua Wanhua laying against his chest, and he recalled that though they had known each other for some time, this was the first time he had seen Hua Wanhua so docile. And now, the position between the two of them had never been more intimate. One of Su Xing's hands held her shoulders, and the other held her legs. Through the thin silk, he could clearly feel the girl's gentle as jade and glossy skin. Because he was holding her, Hua Wanhua's chest was in inevitably close contact. For this reason, she positioned one of her hands between their chests as a partition. This little gesture made Su Xing see a rare, cute side of her. Wanhua, did the double sevens token not say how to leave? After traveling for an unknown amount of time, Su Xing broke the silent atmosphere between them. The double sevens has a galaxy. Pass through that galaxy, and you will be able to see a bridge. We can leave from there. Hua Wanhua's breathing was labored, making her burning hot face gradually cool. But you must be careful. These stars are a bit strange. Hua Wanhua warned. Su Xing nodded. She had hardly finished when, as if in response to Hua Wanhua's words, the surrounding countless silent stars suddenly emitted a lifelike glow. The boundless expanse of space suddenly came alive. Su Xing stopped. The surrounding stars began to move. These stars had glaring radiance, erupting with powerful pressure, obstructing their progress. Su Xing scanned using his divine intent. A powerful force jolted him back, nearly shaking him unconscious. What incredible power! Su Xing took a deep breath and seriously said, Wanhua, wrap your arms around my neck. Hua Wanhua froze. She had wanted to tell him to not think of taking advantage of her, but seeing Su Xing's serious expression, she swallowed her words for the moment. She saw the opposition was a giant heavenly body formed from every sort of dirt and stone barreling towards them. That might seem like it was about to pinch an ant to death. Hua Wanhua sensed its power and hesitated a moment as she grit her teeth. She shut her eyes and wrapped her arms around Su Xing's neck. With a boom, a powerful pressure pushed Hua Wanhua's center of gravity towards Su Xing. Her erect twin peaks squished against Su Xing's chest, pressing them nearly flat. The hero star's whole body suddenly was numb. This double sevens indeed is a trap. Hua Wanhua grit her teeth. 1. This is derived from the Qixi aka Double Sevens Festival, which came from the legend of the cowherd and the weaver girl. Her firm breasts were pressed nearly flat against Su Xing's chest by the pressure, and the feeling upon her chest felt just like an electric current, coursing over her whole body, making her almost moan. The hero star wanted to die from the humiliation. She had never been in such intimate contact with a man. For a time, her body was limp and powerless, but she lowered her head to avoid looking at Su Xing's face. However, Hua Wanhua did not know that Su Xing was not thinking about this lucky situation at all. A giant star hurtled towards them. It was practically like a mountain-sized magic weapon magnified by several millionfold in size. Su Xing completely lacked any room to evade. He summoned Heavenly Abyss, and the large swords protected the pair like shields. Su Xing circulated his magic energy, bracing himself as he charged forth. Bang! An enormous noise entered his ears. Su Xing pierced into the giant. What appeared in front of him was a mountain of hard stone. Heavenly Abyss protected them while Heaven Tearing tunneled through the mountain. Su Xing concentrated all of his magic energy into carving a passage through this earth planetoid. The earth planetoid's strong force pushed towards Su Xing at the same time, as if it wanted to flatten him into a meat patty. Countless boulders smashed endlessly against Heavenly Abyss. Each impact made Su Xing's chest shudder. Heavenly Abyss was his life-cast flying sword. The impacts they sustained were transmitted to the user himself. Such a powerful force. Su Xing shook. Heavenly Abyss was categorized as earth among the 5 elements flying swords. It was made for defense, forged from black turtle divine iron, incomparably sturdy. It was no exaggeration to say that Heavenly Abyss was Liangshan continent's most powerful defensive magic weapon. In previous battles, Su Xing had perceived the pressure that Heavenly Abyss transmitted, but never had it been so powerful. It was like millions of 5 sacred peaks endlessly pushing down upon him. Its power was swift and flowing. Any other magic weapon would be completely unable to bear the overwhelming power of this Earth planetoid and would have long already been smithereens. His divine intent was completely imbued into Heavenly Abyss. His fingers snapped, summoning purple chi that protected Heavenly Abyss. The 12 Heavenly Abyss swords were just like 12 gates. Countless meteorites and boulders smashed, and Heavenly Abyss cracked slightly. Its defensive range began to slowly recede. The purple mansion immortal thunder surrounding Heavenly Abyss detonated to help lessen the pressure, and thus they spent several hours tunneling through the Earth planetoid like this. This boulder-like tenacity moved Hua Wanyue, and she could not help but secretly hate herself a bit for her cautiousness just now. Finally, after some unknown amount of time, the pressure over Hua Wanyue's whole body lessened. Her suffocating chest finally obtained air. The enormous planetoid was already getting farther and farther away behind her. Relying on Su Xing's powerful determination, they unexpectedly bored through the entire celestial body. "Are you alright?" Hua Wanyue softly asked, but being hugged by Su Xing allowed her to feel the same things. However, Hua Wanyue knew that Su Xing used Heavenly Abyss to divert the majority of the pressure, and she did not dare imagine how directly bearing all of that pressure would feel like. I'm fine." Su Xing panted heavily. His whole body felt like it was about to disintegrate, and he was nearly unable to keep holding Hua Wanyue. "Do you realize the terror of the double sevens? There is still time to turn back." Hua Wanyue saw that Su Xing was suffering, and her heart was suddenly somewhat pained. She forcefully said, "The double sevens is only a trial for star maidens. I do not wish to rely on you. Hua Wanyue, if you really aren't too embarrassed, then hold tight onto me. If I can feel your body, then I won't feel the pressure one single but." Su Xing chuckled. After the disaster passed, Su Xing's body now relaxed and hugged Hua Wanyue even tighter. Hua Wanyue's brows rose, and she ground her teeth, an appearance of wanting to eat this person alive. The hero star endured, and a crafty glint flashed past her eyes. Instead, she said, "Does my body please you so much? Even if you died?" Then Ying Mei and the others truly have seen the wrong person. What eloquence! Su Xing was speechless. Hua Wanyue smiled in satisfaction. "If you have any strength left to hug me tight, then hug me tight, eh?" Su Xing was still mystified why Hua Wanyue would suddenly be so understanding when he followed her gaze. His face immediately soured, for he saw yet another star flying towards them. This celestial body was completely radiant, a conglomeration of gold. But from a distance of 1,000,000 li, he could sense his own insignificant powerlessness. If the former Earth planetoid could be said to be a small demonstration, then this glowing, golden star was a true display of feat. "I'm going." Su Xing cursed. Hua Wanyue had wanted to say something, but she was only able to groan. This man actually hugged her even tighter. When Xian Yunshang awoke, her head was splitting from pain. She circulated her star energy for a while to finally settle down. She recalled what happened before she lost consciousness. She seemed to have learned from Qingxi's birth treasure outline of the existence of 2 strange earthly stars, and she had the thought to test them. Afterwards, it seemed that the thief star went to attack the enemy, which truly made Xian Yunshang nearly burst out laughing. For a low-ranked star maiden to go challenge an earthly star that comprehended heaven rank, this truly was laughable, courting death. However, that earthly star's puppet coordination was indeed truly skillful, as expected of one of the Purple Thunder Monster's star generals. As always, he exceeded expectations, toppling generations of understanding about the star generals. Xian Yunshang then recalled that in the end, she formed a plan when she saw Shi Yuan fall into danger. She decided to save her to join the Purple Thunder Monster's inner circle. Because there had been an incident in the past, then providing help in a time of need was the best way to resolve that dispute, but she, Xian Yunshang, had never imagined that she would make an error in judgment. The enemy was far more formidable than she had imagined. Not only was her Earth rank, Death Ghosts, completely ineffective, her sneak attack had completely failed. In the end, she was the one routed instead. But she was not dead. Xian Yunshang wrinkled her brow. Flower Tribute had sacrificed itself to save her, and the enemy could not possibly let her go like this. Furthermore, they had specially treated her injuries and set her upon a bed to recover. Xian Yunshang recalled something and felt her face. When she realized her mask was still on, she breathed a sigh of relief. A slight shuffle came from nearby. Someone entered the room, and Xian Yunshang's figure moved, directly attacking the figure. And Suan gasped in astonishment. Before Xian Yunshang could make any moves, her hand was swatted away. An ice-cold figure quickly darted between her and Ansuan, her palm pushing Xian Yunshang away. Is this how you repay someone? The woman who blocked her with super-fast reactions was dressed in a black shirt and white skirt, her cold aura clearly distinct. Xian Yunshang's eyebrows rose. Elder Sister Yingmei, Elder Sister Yunshang is simply acting in self-defense. Please do not blame her, Elder Sister. The gentle Ansuan spoke up for Xian Yunshang. Lin Yingmei pursed her lips, not lowering her guard at all. Elder Sister, is there anywhere else still out of sorts? Ansuan tenderly asked. You saved me. Xian Yunshang asked in astonishment. It was Yuan'er who saved you. Ansuan summarized what happened. This made the ugly prince consort clearly surprised. This sneaky thief Star Flea on a drum surprisingly returned to rescue her. If it was not for her personally witnessing this, she would not have believed it even in death. Xian Yunshang, you have awakened. Xian Yunshang came to the living room where Wu Xinjie was currently speaking with a woman. That woman wore a lustrous short skirt and top. Her skin surpassed snow, and her pupils were clear, flowing with an expression of pity. There was no need for Xian Yunshang to guess who this was. Such a beauty was inevitably the most beautiful of every generation, bright star 10 feet of blue. Wu Xinjie spotted ugly prince consort and hinted to drink tea. How do you know my true name? He told you, young lord does not hide anything from us. Wu Xinjie giggled. Yet you still saved me. Ugly prince consort licked her chapped lips. Young lord does not like for us to be vengeful. Ugly prince consort felt this purple thunder monster's star generals were indeed interesting, so the purple thunder monster has indeed come. The harm star and hero star are not present. Xian Yunshang looked carefully and noticed that the sisters present were not as numerous as rumored. For example, the number 1 star general in magic energy, Gong Sun Sheng, was nowhere to be seen. Is little sister Yunshang also concerned about young lord's whereabouts? Wu Xinjie asked. Is there anyone under heaven who is not concerned with the purple thunder monster's location? Xian Yunshang deflected. Since you are here now, we have something to ask you. Lin Yingmei interrupted their meaningless chat. Xian Yunshang and Su Xing had a prior dispute, and they were slightly knowledgeable about it. He said that she was a sister they could trust and consider. The reason they waited until she woke up was because they wanted to ask her for information about the fourth overlord. As the ugly prince consort who faced the fourth overlord head-on, her level of martial arts was even sharper than what Shi Yuan possessed. Since they were to confront the fourth overlord, the information they could receive from her was naturally very valuable as a reference. When the thief star attacked that earthly star little sister, Yunshang felt it was very strange. As expected, you know something. Ugly prince consort ruminated. Does little sister wish to know? Wu Xinjie smiled, then sign a contract with young lord. To see the elegance of the famous elder sister majestic star Yingmei, Yunshang truly is considering this. Xian Yunshang made a show of nodding earnestly. Even the knowledge star could not see through what lay beneath that sinister mask, just what expression she had as she answered this question. Su Xing currently could understand why it was that no Star Master had left the double sevens alive. This abnormal trial could be endured perhaps by only a few Star Masters. Even he complained endlessly. With great difficulty, he had tunneled through the million layers of the Earth planetoid and was faced with an approaching metal planetoid. This metal planetoid was substantially larger than the Earth planet, its oppression even more heavy. Heavenly Abyss was pushed to the limit, making Su Xing and Hua Wanyue's intimate contact reach the extreme. This was the so-called familiarity with every wonderful inch of her skin. After the Earth planet and the metal planet came a wood planet. This planetoid was considered a bit more normal, full of luxuriant forests, verdant wood and vines, just like a paradise compared to the first two planetoids. This also allowed Su Xing to recover a bit of strength. If you cannot continue, then withdraw. I do not feel this is a disgrace for you. Hua Wanyue was buried against Su Xing's chest. Her body had lost all its strength, feeling every bit of power in this man's taut muscles. Su Xing grunted, continuing to tunnel through the obstructions of this planetoid. They had traveled through this cosmos for an unknown amount of time. Su Xing suddenly felt his skin hurt from scorching heat. His movements instantly became slow. Wanyue, you'd better make some mental preparations. Su Xing took a deep breath. Hua Wanyue raised her gaze. A red fireball charged towards them. That fireball was enormous, to the extent that there was no gap for them to escape through. Raging flames burned, flashing orange, red, blue, purple, white and every kind of different color luster. The flames raged, and even from far away, they could feel the heat. A faint wind blew across them, bringing a burst of discomfort. You really are not, before Hua Wanyue could finish. Su Xing shouted, steering through the storm, charging straight for the searing and surging fireball. The completely red firelight drummed against her ears, and her consciousness suddenly blanked. Hua Wanyue tightly shut her eyes, not even daring to look. For the first time, she felt some regret for entering the double sevens. But once the arrow of fate was launched, it could never turn back. Except for one very crucial detail about his background. The interior of the fireball was a raging inferno, rolling faint winds. Each flame was like a serpent that covered the sky, accompanied by rolling thunderclaps as it approached Su Xing and Hua Wanyue. The heavenly fire rolled, scorching the two debilitatingly. Su Xing's heavenly abyss was forged from Liangshan continent's sturdiest black turtle divine iron. Even when Tang Lianxin's superb forging methods refined the divine iron, she spent several months of time to do so. Now, Su Xing had entered the stove. The surrounding terrifying flames were beyond description. In just barely a moment, Su Xing immediately sensed heavenly abyss was entirely beginning to melt. This indeed also made Su Xing burn anxiously. After a long time in the center of the fireball, heavenly abyss was already unable to bear the encroachment of the heavenly fire. With the endless assault of the flames, Su Xing formed hand seals. His fingers snapped in succession, an array of purple chi contended against a flame in midair. Contesting for such a long time also made Su Xing feel fatigued. Even that purple robe he donned that was reputed to be impervious to both fire and water would burn to ash in an instant if it was touched by these flames. This kind of unique high temperature tested the two of them. Although she was being protected by Su Xing's heavenly abyss, magic weapons and other defensive measures, Hua Wanyue could still feel as if her skin was being burned by the fire, but compared to this, Hua Wanyue's heart was more worried about what came after they passed through the center of the fireball. If this continued, when the next wave of flames attacked, even if they could pass through safely, their clothes undoubtedly would be completely destroyed. The thought that her naked body would be in this man's embrace made Hua Wanyue want to die. And she could not blame Su Xing. After all, this was her own choice to enter the double sevens. No one could have imagined that the trial inside the double sevens would be so abnormal. Hua Wanyue shut her eyes and bit her lip. She understood she could only suffer through this silently and hide it. At this moment, the broiling high temperatures and the endlessly pouncing flames made the two of them too occupied to speak. Very quickly, a wave of even stronger flames flowed towards them like a flood released from a dam. Su Xing felt Hua Wanyue hug him even tighter. He was completely aware of her thinking, and he inwardly laughed. His finger pointed, and heavenly abyss advanced. The 12 heavenly abyss stood like mountains, forming an impenetrable defense. Their energetic roar shook back the flames. When even more flames slammed over, they immediately brought heavenly abyss to the verge of collapse. There was also an unstoppable Fein wind slicing through all of his defenses, making a beeline for Su Xing and Hua Wanyue. There was a feeling this would probably burn these two clean away. Su Xing's wrist flipped, and a book of yellow dust formed in the flames. Empress Tu's true spirit emerged from the book. Her sleeves gently waved, and yellow earth qi immediately enshrouded Su Xing and Hua Wanyue. Su Xing continuously poured magic energy into the book. The earth book's yellow dust qi was also endlessly burned away and then reproduced, a cycle of recovery, persisting 100 times. The earth book was not completely recovered yet. To bear the continuous assault of fire at this time, the yellow dust grew more and more frail. When Su Xing saw this, he did not hesitate at all to allow Empress Tu to withdraw. The remaining yellow dust qi was completely wrapped around Hua Wanyue. Following the earth book's yellow qi wrapping her, the scorching hot temperatures instantly abated. Hua Wanyue opened her eyes to look, only then discovering that the man before her was currently using all his power to protect her. Hua Wanyue wanted to say something, but under these stifling temperatures, her chapped lips could only slightly part but make no noise whatsoever. In this way, they finally burst out from the terrifying fireball. Su Xing breathed deeply, only then finding that his whole body was not only nearly suffering heat exhaustion, his skin was singed painfully. Su Xing, why did you waste the earth book just then? Hua Wanyue asked, deadpan. Her confused yet grateful gaze made Su Xing very hurt. Hua Wanyue, don't tell me that I look like the kind of person who likes seeing you naked. Su Xing helplessly asked. Hua Wanyue instantly nodded. There was no doubt in Hua Wanyue's heart that Su Xing could be considered the star master who was the most profligate and devoid of principles in all of Liangshan continent. What star master in the world would surprisingly make love to a star general, and not only to one, and not only to average star generals, you really do? Su Xing curiously asked. Hua Wanyue grunted. You really do want to get naked with me? Su Xing added on one last phrase. Can you not be just a bit more decent? Hua Wanyue's fist slammed against Su Xing's chest. At this moment, Hua Wanyue then noticed Su Xing was currently slippery, his clothes contrarily all burned away. However, there was no helping this. Under that kind of fire, to be able to allow Hua Wanyue to preserve her clothes with all his effort, Su Xing was in no mood to mind his own threadbare body. Hua Wanyue's face reddened, and she broke away from Su Xing. Fortunately, the treasures in his astral bag were not burned. Su Xing used his divine intent to summon a new robe, and then he grabbed one of the pills Suan had specially refined to replenish his magic energy as he sighed. This double sevens honestly is worthy of being called a Star World relic. This metal wood water fire earth 5 elements formation completely is not something an ordinary person can overcome. And that is why I said, there was no need for you to come along. These double sevens ruins do not concern you at all. Hua Wanyue was stern. If it concerns you, then it naturally also concerns me. Su Xing opposed. Hua Wanyue snorted, do not say pleasant things. Do not forget that I am the enemy who wants to take your life. Su Xing smiled, I know, so that's why before this, your matters are my matters, and you can also interfere in my matters. What I said is right, right. Hua Wanyue's brows wrinkled, feeling that something was wrong. Let's quickly get going. Of metal, wood, water, fire and earth, only the water one is left. Su Xing spread his arms. When Hua Wanyue saw this man wanted to embrace her, her shoulders slightly shrunk back. Not allowing her to refuse, Su Xing already took Hua Wanyue up into his arms against his chest. A large garment wrapped around her. From an outsider's perspective, this position was undoubtedly the intimacy of a husband and wife. Wanyue, I think you aren't the faint-hearted type. Su Xing hugged Hua Wanyue tight, on one hand sighing at her skin's silky texture, and flying relentlessly on the other. I will definitely kill you. Hua Wanyue said very powerlessly. The final water star was as expected. Originally, Su Xing thought that the water star would be frozen over, that it was probably a trial of a frigid world, but the final water planet was indeed as its name suggested. It was completely made of water, and upon entering the ocean, it did not have an ice-cold temperature like others, and it had no other aspect that was unsuitable. On the contrary, the water was gentle, warm beyond compare. A current of warmth coursed through all of his meridians. His previously burned and cracked wounds very quickly recovered. By the time the two left the water star, their whole bodies were already drenched, especially Hua Wanyue's muslin. Su Xing could already glimpse an embroidered pink bodice. Although he did not see Hua Wanyue's naked body from the fireball, this vaguely visible sight was even more enticing. However, Hua Wanyue was contrarily accustomed. After passing by countless stars, some unknown time later, Su Xing finally caught sight of the galaxy that Hua Wanyue had spoken of. A vast galaxy hung in front of them. How should that feeling be described? It was like countless shining stars were piled together in no particular form. Silvery lights scuttled among each other, becoming a giant river of stars in the cosmos. That glittering light was so beautiful it left them speechless. When Su Xing and Hua Wanyue saw the galaxy in front of them, they were shocked again. Above the galaxy, countless magpies flew about. These birds were graceful from head to tail, their plumage glossy. They glistened like stars, and their eyes were like gems. These were the evening magpies that were recorded only in Liangshan continent's history. They were also called galaxy magpies. These magpies would never sing. In the boundless galaxy, they flew about, adding a sense of desolation to this vast world. Starry rivers, countless fish, the silent evening magpies. Even the most talented poets of Liangshan continent would be speechless. The naturally elegant and romantic Hua Wanyue could not help but sigh. Wanyue, what you said was very apartment. Su Xing said. Hua Wanyue cast Su Xing a sidelong glance, dully saying, I heard Mei once say that you are very talented. Presumably, the man that skillful star wanderer Yan Qing follows would not be too shabby. Perhaps you can give me a pleasant surprise? Su Xing shook his head and said, what talent do I have? Poetry is not something from the same era I'm from. But I actually have heard of a poem that is a very fitting match for this scene in front of us. And what poem in the world could match this scene? A grin flit across Hua Wanyue's lips. Clearly, she felt Su Xing was modest. Su Xing actually was not truly modest. In fact, when he saw this galaxy, a frequently heard poem popped out of his mind. Now that he saw Hua Wanyue was somewhat interested, he recited. To be able to match flawlessly with that galaxy, the magpies, and the Qixi, there was naturally that poem circulated since ancient times, meeting across the Milky Way. 2. Through the fleeting shapes of delicate clouds, the regret of the shooting stars, a silent journey across the Milky Way. When autumn's golden wind embraces jade dew, the meeting of the cowherd and weaver girl eclipses all other encounters in the mundane world. Their feelings soft as water, that ecstatic moment as unreal as a dream, how can one have the heart to go back over the bridge of magpies? If two hearts are united forever, what need is there for the two to remain together, day and night? Hua Wanyue had been listening for amusement out of boredom, not at all convinced Su Xing actually could make any poem. Even Yan Yizhen could not possibly compose one at first sight of such a scene. But when she heard the first stanza, through the fleeting shapes of delicate clouds, Hua Wanyue was immediately astonished. When autumn's golden wind embraces jade dew, the meeting of the cowherd and weaver girl eclipses all other encounters in the mundane world, could be described as wonderful, and the final, if two hearts are united forever, what need is there for the two to remain together, day and night, were even more divine. Rather than when she had seen this beautiful galaxy, Huahuanyue was once again shaken by this meeting across the Milky Way. Only after a long while did Huahuanyue finally recollect herself from her second shock. It's very suitable for this scene, right? However, you ought to have heard of this before. The name of Nyangzi's heaven-earth dark yellow is when autumn's golden wind embraces jade dew. Su Xing stroked his chin. You really are a sentimental man, I somewhat understand now, while Huanyue's expression was complex. Su Xing felt that Huahuanyue was misunderstanding something. The two flew over the galaxy. Since this was the Double Seven's ruins, Su Xing did not forget to search for materials of any kind. Seeing this galaxy was somewhat out of the ordinary, he used his astral bag to siphon the galaxy. However, to absorb this galaxy was truly taxing for him. It required wasting enormous divine intent to finally barely take just a little bit. After a long while, Su Xing did not see the bridge that Huahuanyue spoke of. He thoughtfully said, "Don't tell me we actually need to use the evening magpies to form a bridge." Huahuanyue froze and recalled something. She raised the Double Seven's token in her hand, and it flashed. Releasing light. The fluttering evening magpies reacted. They all suddenly gathered together, instantly forming a bridge over the galaxy. At the end of the bridge was a white light. Su Xing and Huahuanyue flew towards the bridge of magpies. Just at this moment, a gentle voice echoed in the desolate world. If two hearts are united forever, what need is there for the two to remain together, day and night? Your servant has not heard such pleasant, sweet words in a very long time. A graceful woman had shown up at some point in time on the bridge of magpies. She was draped in only a piece of thin muslin. Inside were a faintly visible large red tube top and underwear. Her skin was white as jade, as if it could break from blowing upon it, turning into a broken jade body. She was a wonderful beauty that had walked out from a portrait. 1. The first part of their name directly references, which I have been translating as Double Sevens. Right arrow curving left 2. I've adapted the following translation from the Wikipedia page on the cowherd and the weaver girl. On the third day of the Alliance of 10 conference, Immortal outside heaven appeared. 72 women danced around her. These women were beautiful, their expressions ice-cold, their presences subdued, yet none dared approach them. They were formed from the true spirit of flying swords. Every frown and every smile, every word and every gesture was full of concentrated sword chi. The 72 sword spirits emitted a sword chi that was like a trickling river flowing through the White Horse Highlands. In that moment, the White Horse Highlands' million cultivators were frightened stiff. Immortal outside heaven coldly swept over the entire venue. In the end, she descended over Emperor Liang. It seems that the true Immortal Hall has received the title of One Path. For Senior Immortal outside heaven's true Immortal Hall to become the head of the Azure Dragon's Alliance of 10, this is considered fame that follows merit. Emperor Liang nodded, courteously speaking. Immortal outside heaven's 72 outer void flying immortal swords could be said to be the Azure Dragon territory's current strongest sword chant ability. Even Emperor Liang was inferior by comparison. With the most high path withdrawn, the sole sect that could have contested, the Lifeless Hall, had no way to match against Immortal outside heaven because of Shu Xindao's death, which greatly debilitated their power. The Lifeless Hall and the true Immortal Hall still had two secluded top-notch ancestral masters, but they began comprehending transforming Star of Annihilation 50, 60 years ago and did not mind the mundane world since. They were like the most high path's immortal great void, no one was clear if they were even dead or alive. The Alliance of 10 conference used strength to determine positions. All of the Azure Dragon territory's cultivators could only accept the verdict. And so, the Azure Dragon territory's new Alliance of 10 was re-established. Among the new alliance of 10, other than the long-declining Four Styles school that shone brilliantly and became the Four Styles sword school of the four great sword sects, there was also a Kunlun sect that emerged as a new force to be reckoned with. They produced two supervoid ancestral masters to replace the vacancy left by the true immortal hall, becoming the newest one of the two halls. Although their cultivators were no more than supervoid middle stage, the Kunlun sect reportedly was surprisingly overseen by the Azure Dragon Territory's top-notch medicine refinement sect master, the Queen Mother of Westluen, who did not concern herself with worldly things. Thus, it was logical they would be one of the two halls. The 10 great sects were thus finalized. Just as Emperor Liang is about to declare the end of the banquet, at this moment, an unconvinced voice hollered out. Over already? This was unavoidably too boring. A fat man scuttled onto the arena and stuck out his rotund belly. It seemed as though he had only just woken up, an over-exaggerated manner. His voice was clearly not loud, but it was nevertheless clear enough to enter the ears of everyone present, and his cultivation was not shallow. Apologies, but the Alliance of 10 Conferences tournament was too dull. I, Old Pig, had fallen asleep by mistake. Old Pig smiled. Hearing these words, Tao Fenghua rolled her eyes as she stood next to him. The cultivators burst into a clamor, saying in their hearts that this person was too rude, to unexpectedly hold the Alliance of 10 Conference in contempt. What is your distinguished self called? What advice have you to offer? Emperor Liang slightly smiled. You can just call me Big Brother Old Pig, no need to be so formal. Old Pig waved his hand, an attitude like a senior looking after his junior. You would surprisingly have His Majesty call you Big Brother, you truly are improprietous. An arrogant youngster. Young people these days are all so arrogant. Seeing Old Pig raise a senior's gesture towards Emperor Liang, the cultivators below cried out one after another. Youngster. Old Pig wanted to laugh when he heard this. Emperor Liang wrinkled his brow. Immortal outside heaven coldly said, if you wish to challenge this immortal shall give you an opportunity. Then challenge. But I, Old Pig, do not want to challenge you. The head of the Alliance of 10 is meaningless. Old Pig smiled. He suddenly pointed his finger at Emperor Liang and shifted the topic. What Old Pig wants to challenge is, Your Majesty's throne. Bang! The White Horse Highlands erupted. No one could have imagined that such a scene would appear at the end of the Alliance of 10 conference, that someone would surprisingly challenge Emperor Liang's position. From what antique did you spring out from? To not even know the rules of the Alliance of 10 conference. Challenging Emperor Liang, these words are from a spoiled brat. Your Majesty, properly teach this brat who does not know the immensity of heaven and earth a lesson. Everyone shouted. Emperor Liang hinted to everyone to be calm. He then looked at Old Pig. The latter was still beaming from ear to ear. The throne of the great Liang can only be occupied by one who has the true dragon bloodline. Do not think too highly of yourself. Immortal outside heaven calmly said. True dragon bloodline, this is actually the first time I have ever heard of this. However, Old Pig is determined to challenge you, Your Majesty. To be able to command the Alliance of 10 is a much better sight than being the head of the Alliance of 10. Old Pig chuckled. These words were a tacit understanding from the power Emperor Liang wielded. Now that they were laid out in the open, everyone actually felt somewhat awkward. Although Big Brother does not have the true dragon bloodline, he has the yellow gown of coronation. No one can say he is unfit for that throne. Tao Fenghua wrinkled her nose, speaking disapprovingly. The yellow gown of coronation was a legend lost several hundred years ago. Only a very few today would still be knowledgeable about this. Everyone did not notice the profundity in Tao Fenghua's words, and instead this was the artifice of some arrogant bastard. Immediately, there was thronging mockery. This man looks exceedingly mighty. Why dilly-dally? Do you not dare accept Big Brother's challenge? Tao Fenghua snorted. Then we are much obliged. Emperor Liang calmly rose. When everyone saw that Emperor Liang surprisingly was taking action, they grew excited. Your distinguished self is a new face. We wonder from which sect you hail. Since you have challenged us, you must have some history. Emperor Liang smiled. The name, huh? Everyone must know after the last few days. Old Pig chuckled. The U-Dragon school shall be rude. Down below, an aged yet powerful voice immediately followed. All gazes looked in the direction of the voice. They saw cultivators dressed in yellow long robes, led by an old man whose honor was roused to vigor as he cupped his fist. The U-Dragon school. So it turns out you are that U-Dragon school. Emperor Liang slightly sighed. In these 3 days, he did not know why, but a rumor that the U-Dragon school would step on the Alliance of Ten's toes was circulated all over. Later, this grew even more intense. Several top-notch cultivators already somewhat understood what was happening. However, before this, they had merely thought this was a joke, nothing more. They naturally knew of the U-Dragon school. This sect's background was traced back to Senior 9 dragons, but it declined in the end, its strength currently ranked among the weakest. Although your servant does not know who is deliberately promoting this sect, since we are indebted to everyone's sight, the U-Dragon school wishes to issue a challenge. Old Pig narrowed his eyes. If your servant accidentally wins, then your servant asks that for as long as your majesty lives, you help develop the U-Dragon school's influence, to once again show its former glory. What does your majesty feel? Old Pig was aware he was no more than a true spirit. Sooner or later, he would return to Maiden Mountain. Even if he helped the U-Dragon school obtain a position in the Alliance of 10, that would be short-lived. Therefore, he thought of setting out against Emperor Liang. The magnificent Great Liang dynasty's symbol was here before the Alliance of 10 conference, and with so many witnesses, he was not afraid that Emperor Liang would dare break a promise. Immortal outside heaven thought to herself that this man was very shrewd, however, she nonetheless disapproved. She could see that this man was supervoid late-stage cultivation. Even if he was hiding something, his presence was far from being on their level of profoundness. They could only say he had just stepped into supervoid late stage. Emperor Liang laughed. We have not encountered something this interesting in a very long time. Since you are of the U-Dragon school, then we accept your challenge. Your Majesty, properly teach this brat a lesson. This big brother Old Pig is too blind, Your Majesty. Do you not see those 2 women standing beside him who look like they can match star generals? I think he must have trained his powers night and day. He definitely can defeat Emperor Liang. Is the former 9 Dragons sect about to resurrect? There was the 4 Styles school before, and now, there is another even more wild U-Dragon school. What dinosaur? That is clearly a carp. 2. When everyone heard this unprecedented bet, their blood boiled. The White Horse Highlands were in a clamor. Far away, Wu Xingjia's eyes lit up. Hua Shua, Xingjia is counting on your illusion to add fuel to the fire, the 9-tailed spirit fox cooed. Sisters, we will have to avoid the ensuing events. Wu Xingjia turned her head back and smiled at the sisters. What are you doing? Xian Yunsheng was at a loss. Double sevens. Su Xing and Hua Wanhua looked in astonishment at the woman in white who had appeared. That woman's build was slim, and she was dressed in thin white muslin. Her amply developed body was vaguely visible underneath. It has been a very long time since I heard such pleasant words of affection. The woman sat on the bridge, her legs crossed as she sized up Su Xing and Hua Wanhua, her gaze seemingly cold. Your servant and Wanhua have entered this place rashly. If we have offended your distinguished self, please excuse us. The Su Xing who possessed unquantifiable battle experience immediately caught scent of the woman's level of danger. As he strained all of his body's nerves, he also very sincerely cupped his fist to demonstrate his good intentions. If 2 hearts are united forever, the woman recited this line and looked at Su Xing. I must say, your poem honestly moves my heart. Before Su Xing could be allowed to be a little vain, the woman's tone changed. This is bringing trouble upon yourself. White silk flashed. Imperceptible killing intent inconceivably fell on top of him. Bang! Hua Wanyue's short spear and the woman's weapon collided. In just the blink of an eye, Hua Wanyue was sent flying. The force of that blow was unimaginable. Immediately following this, the weapon in that hand swept towards Su Xing. Similarly, he was unable to block this, and Heavenly Abyss was dispersed, knocking Su Xing away. Su Xing righted himself as he descended in midair. That Hua Wanyue also was able to settle her posture because the galaxy had restored her star energy. The two of them glanced at each other across the galaxy, each of them showing shock. So strong. Su Xing acknowledged that he possessed absolute confidence in his close combat martial arts, but in that first exchange, that confidence was immediately knocked in half by the staff in that woman's hand. He seemed to have experienced this feeling before, just like when he first faced Yusuji Muzu. Star World ruins. Could she also be from Star World? Su Xing took a deep breath. Is your distinguished self from Star World? Is there any animosity between us? Your servant merely feels displeased looking at you too. The woman's expression was arrogant. Then, she also smiled, full of disdain and mockery. Since you have come to this place, then your servant shall have death do you part forever. Thereupon, she spun that staff of white jade wrapped in red luan birds. What is your name? Throw out your strongest attack magic weapon, and your servant shall inform you her name. Her white figure moved, and the woman attacked once again. This time, Su Xing did not hesitate at all to activate the four symbols seal. The spiritual auras of the four holy beast true spirits immediately bubbled forth and rushed out. The four holy beasts that were comparable to supervoid cultivators were enough to give trouble to even the best supervoid cultivators, but the woman smiled. She swept with that staff in her hand, surprisingly forcing away the four holy beast true spirits. And then this woman very intelligently did not attack the holy beasts, but instead, she attacked the four symbols seal itself. This is bad. Su Xing was overwhelmed. He hastily imbued the seal with his magic energy. That woman was honestly too ferocious. Her staff whistled about. The four symbols seal's spirit light completely lacked protection. This prehistoric top-notch spirit treasure was shattered on contact. With a bang, the four symbols seal disintegrated, and without the object to which they were attached, the four holy beasts' true spirits immediately were destroyed. Su Xing stared blankly and could not help but utter, "Fuck," the woman sighed with exceptional vanity and satisfaction. Scholar in a white robe, Wang Luan, N, this is your servant's name. 1. Allosaurus. In Chinese, it is also pronounced Yuelong, the same as the U-Dragon School right arrow curving left 2. An insult based on their name. Wang Luan. That original leader of Liangshan that had been slain by Lin Chang's spear had surprisingly manifested so savagely in this woman. Su Xing's heart bled. The four symbols seal was but his most favorite magic weapon. Normally, even against enemies he did not need to spend too much star energy to summon the four holy beast true spirits. This time, knowing the might of Star World, Su Xing had specifically pushed hard, but the gods had determined to sabotage his plans. This full power activation of the four symbols seal had instead been easily smashed by Wang Luan's staff. Lady truly is skilled in martial arts. Your servant is Su Xing. In the future, your servant shall ask for guidance, but we shall take our leave now. Su Xing wryly smiled, cupped his fist in salutation, showing a wholehearted expression. As he spoke, he moved towards Hua Wanyue. Seeing that Wang Luan had broken his magic weapon so easily, Su Xing had no more interest in wasting time on her. I'd better leave this Wang Luan to Yingmei. Wang Luan easily swung the staff around. A ray of killing intent cracked like a whip, stunningly splitting the galaxy neatly between Su Xing and Hua Wanyue. The woman disdainfully said, "If you wish to leave, then please leave by yourself. No hard feelings." Su Xing said. She swept her gaze over them, the corner of her lips curling. This is the rule of the double sevens. Star generals are unable to cross this bridge of magpies. What kind of rule is this? Su Xing's voice sunk. The double sevens had only this one exit. If it did not allow passage for star generals, then they would undoubtedly be trapped in this place. The double sevens rule. Wang Luan loftily said. Now, your servant shall give you two choices. The first, you leave on your own, and your servant shall not make things difficult for you. The second choice, you can play the hero, and then you will die under your servant's staff. Wang Luan slightly smiled, twirling her staff in one hand. She spoke with a resounding voice, confident and easygoing. She did not treat Su Xing and Hua Wanyue as opponents at all. Su Xing knew that she indeed had the qualifications to be this confident, but to destroy the prehistoric supreme-grade spirit treasure in one strike, even a top-notch star general could only achieve this with true Phoenix Realm levels of martial force. However, they would not necessarily achieve this as easily she did. There was a burst of anger in Su Xing's heart. He thought to himself that he had naively stepped in dog shit, to unexpectedly bump into a star general of the legendary star world. There had never been a more shitty person in Liangshan continent's thousands of years. Su Xing, you leave first. I can handle this place. Seeing Su Xing was caught in a difficult situation, Hua Wanyue spoke from her side of the galaxy. This place is the double sevens. Star generals enter this world to train their martial arts. You do not need to worry about me. These words sounded even more like she wanted to give Su Xing an excuse to leave that would assuage his conscience. How could Su Xing not understand what she was thinking of? Wang Luan had shattered the four symbols seal in one blow. If they actually clashed against this level of martial force, the two of them completely lacked any chance of victory. If this was the case, they might as well be direct. Su Xing thought over and over, but he had no choice but to acquiesce. Then, Wanyue, I'll be going first. Wang Luan's eyes showed a slightly taunting expression. Go then. When Hua Wanyue heard this, her heart immediately seemed to feel relief. He was honestly afraid Su Xing would impulsively and stubbornly face off against Wang Luan. This provided no benefits to either of them, however, it was obvious thinking it over carefully. Su Xing had millennial martial generals like Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiao, 12 beautiful contracted existence defiant of the natural order. Even if he was any more hornier than he was, he understood gains and losses. Dying for her sake. Not worth it. These three words suddenly made Hua Wanyue's heart somewhat sour. She watched Su Xing helplessly walk towards the Magpie Bridge, and an unprecedented feeling of disappointment appeared in her heart. This is the choice a mature star master ought to make. Wang Luan nodded in satisfaction. Seeing Su Xing leave towards the Magpie Bridge, she placed her gaze on Hua Wanyue once more. Just as she was about to speak, all of a sudden, a fragrant wind gusted, and flower petals attacked. A dazzling flower garden of myriad purples and reds sprung up in her surroundings. A unique scent invaded, and a baleful aura attacked. Ha! Wang Luan was taken aback. She turned her back in astonishment to find that the man who was previously upon the Magpie Bridge in dejection was now revolting. A gorgeous dragon sparrow broadsword rolled a powerful fragrant killing intent towards her. Su Xing had changed from his previous helplessness, his eyes bursting with killing intent so terrifying, it moved even her. Earth rank saber technique. Clothes full of flower fragrance. Su Xing swung the saber. Myriad scents and this abrupt earth rank caught Wang Luan by surprise, but the woman's reactions were indeed fierce. The saber wind directly attacked her chest, and the white jade red Luan staff in her hand caught the blow. Saber and staff clashed. Wang Luan was repelled by this slash, and the wonderful silk binding her was torn open with a red hole. Blood and underwear mixed, but compared to the wound on her body, Wang Luan was even more shocked at Su Xing's counterattack. Wanyue. Su Xing's full power slash left him gasping for breath. A star general's earth rank technique was too powerful, as expected. Even with his unmatched star nest, his abnormal divine intent, and his unfathomable star energy, he nearly was unable to continue. Hua Wanyu promptly drew her bow and fired the 10,000 Li god-killing arrow. Wang Luan shouted furiously, smashing the 10,000 Li god-killing arrow with her staff, then once again obstructed the Magpie bridge, staring at Su Xing with a pondering, ice-cold glare. You despicable fuck, surprisingly exploiting your servant's good intentions. That was certainly rude, but who let your distinguished self bully people using Star World's influence? Su Xing shrugged. Wang Luan laughed. Your servant thought you were very mature, but your servant never expected you to be so childish. Do you think a sneak attack can defeat your servant? Although she had been struck by the earth rank, the scholar in a white robe still maintained a lofty gracefulness and grandeur that not only did not weaken, it instead became even more oppressive because of the blood dripping from her sword wound. Su Xing, you really should not be so impulsive. Hua Wanyue's expression was conflicted. Su Xing smiled, no need to worry. If we actually fight, Wang Luan inevitably can easily kill me. Seeing Hua Wanyue was still concerned, he directly said to Wang Luan, think carefully. Your fright just now was feigned. Was feigned? Wang Luan gripped the staff in her hand, her brows rising. You had me use my strongest magic weapon, yet you downplayed its destruction in one strike. Your martial arts are indeed extraordinary. Perhaps even a super void peak cultivator would be afraid. But thinking over this carefully, you deliberately did so to threaten me, to make me escape the double sevens in fear, isn't that right? Su Xing indifferently smiled. That attack looked powerful, but in fact, you secretly should have used much of your strength to do so, thus, your servant feels there is no harm in fighting a bout against you. After all, I was taught by none other than my wife, the majestic star. You do not fear that I will kill you? I accept your killing intent. Wang Luan's heart was astonished. This man's eyesight was surprisingly so keen to have guessed things so accurately. No mistake. The double sevens final trial tested what choice the Star Master would make when Star General and Star Master were faced with overwhelming power, so Wang Luan from the very beginning made Su Xing activate his strongest magic weapon, and then she would use her long already fully charged finishing technique to smash it in one strike. On the surface, she appeared very easygoing, but it in fact consumed much of her strength. At the very least, against Su Xing's sneak attack, she could only barely block it, leaving her with a slight cut. But to be able to maintain this clarity under such domineering intimidation, Wang Luan herself thought this was unbelievable. For a time, she stared at Su Xing, surprisingly speechless. If scholar in a white robe was like this, Hua Wanyue need not be mentioned. Staring tongue-tied at Su Xing leisurely chatting away, even the hero star of extremely clear eyesight was unable to perceive the particular details of this. That fully self-confident vigor made Hua Wanyue have an indescribable feeling of safety. This must be that feeling of the heavens sending him to help her. This man of yours has courage. Wang Luan licked her chapped lips, showing a very alluring smile. Your servant has decided to have you stay here with your servant in the double sevens. Sorry, I still have a lot of wives waiting for me to return to them. Su Xing waved his hand, and his flying swords all spun at the same time. Wanyue, prepare to leave with me, and don't be too careless. Hua Wanyue nodded, recovering her composure. She shot Wang Luan a lightning-quick glance. The double sevens originally should not have allowed you to reunite. You truly have destroyed this aesthetic. Wang Luan wrinkled her brow as she watched Su Xing and Hua Wanyue remain together. Su Xing, you have indeed made your servant gain a whole new level of respect for you, but you have miscalculated one thing, this lady is indeed very strong. Her laugh pierced the wind, and her white robes fluttered. Wang Luan swung her staff at the pair, forming a series of staff shadows, like tidal waves covering the world. Watch this. High love, deep hatred. The White Horse Highlands sunk into an unprecedented silence. Several million gazes watched the arena with bated breath. Ever since the greatest genius in the current Azure Dragon territory seized control of the Great Liang dynasty, this was the first challenge he had faced in a very long time. Several decades ago, Emperor Liang's cultivation was already unfathomable. Now, it had reached a stage of perfection. Each cultivator was eager to see what brilliant masterpiece the greatest emperor would display. In fact, Emperor Liang was stunning to everyone. Old Pig did not underestimate this ruler who used imperial power to suppress countless sects, and neither did he dare look down on the one who was the first to unleash the imperial qi of the true dragon bloodline. In his mind, he already had countless practice battles, and this also made Old Pig's expression have an unprecedented concentration. Emperor Liang's 72 outer void flying immortals swords were summoned. 72 absolutely beautiful sword spirits subdued everyone present with gorgeous sword postures. Old Pig pointed, and 2 rays of yellow light transformed into 2 yellow dragons, twisting in front and back. They surprisingly clashed bluntly with the 72 sword spirits. The yellow dragons roared, and the heavenly immortal swords danced. The scene was magnificent. Yellow dragon flying swords. Emperor Liang gasped in surprise. He could tell that these were indeed the lost, legendary flying swords, and the 2 yellow dragons they manifested were not so-called phantoms but genuine dragon spirits residing in the swords. Originally believing Emperor Liang's sword chant could win through overwhelming force, no one expected that this unremarkable, simplistic Fatso's flying sword abilities were so powerful, to have suppressed the flying swords that Maniaeist sword spirits. Dragon fights in wilderness, its blood is dark and yellow. Old Pig chanted. Suddenly, the 2 yellow dragons expanded several sizes. Their yellow light was glaring, illuminating the entire area. The might of the powerful dragon spirits swept over everyone. Outer void flying immortals, go. Emperor Liang nodded. The 72 outer void immortals flew gracefully, each opening the outer void sword array, trapping the yellow dragons. Your distinguished self is truly an adept. This seems to be a sword chant ability imbued with a dragon spirit. We have not seen this in a very long time. Emperor Liang smiled, but it is still too early to be surprised. Old Pig snapped his fingers. The floor of the arena was uprooted. A large area of yellow dust suddenly rose. This yellow dust appeared like smoke, but they crackled with arcs of lightning like thunderclouds. All of the cultivators did not dare believe their eyes. Earth volume of the 5 spirits heavenly books. Gentle earth divine thunder. The 5 spirits laws labeled thunders according to the 5 phases, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, becoming creative metal, receptive wood, blooming water, clinging fire, and gentle earth, also known as Liangshan Continent's 5 astonishing thunders. Cultivators could refine them inside their own bodies, activating the power of the worldly 5 elements to form astral thunder at will. Powerful users could even borrow the power of the 5 sacred mountains' earth element to similarly use powerful divine thunder. However, the 5 spirits law heavenly book was long lost. What currently circulated today were mostly ruined fragments and pieces. However, even if only one of them was learned, that would be enough to lead to grand feats in Liangshan continent. And while the gentle earth divine thunder's earth element looked nondescript in Old Pig's hand, once the gentle earth divine thunder appeared, it seemed as if all of the earth surrounding the arena became thunderlight, showing fangs and claws. The thunderlight within crackled about, just like golden serpents. After several loud crashes, like several explosions leveling the earth, the wildlife on the plains took flight, scattering everywhere. All of the spectating cultivators were terrified and restless. Astonishingly, it was the genuine gentle earth divine thunder. What a hero Emperor Liang was. As far as a cultivator standing at Supervoid Peak was concerned, it was already very rare to be flustered. Although the gentle earth divine thunder was mystical, Emperor Liang's true dragon imperial qi was refined using the mandate of heaven. The 5 elements' astonishing thunders were completely at a bit of a deficiency. Emperor Liang made no movements. The spiritual energy surrounding him became a golden ray of light, manifesting a true dragon. Following this golden spiritual aura spreading in all directions, it swept the gentle earth divine thunder clean away. Old Pig once again formed a hand seal. The ground's earth chi bubbled forth, and a yellow aura appeared, enveloping the platform. The large platform suddenly became obscured. Outside cultivators opened their eyes wide but were unable to see anything. Even Immortal outside heaven could only barely make out figures flitting about. Countless gentle earth divine thunder appeared from the earth, becoming innumerable droplets. Thunder light rushed forth, striking one another. Immediately, they exploded, as if heaven and earth were rent apart. She thought to herself that this fat man was somewhat formidable. These countless gentle earth divine thunders only needed to detonate once to trigger a chain reaction. Their explosions filled the eyes with red lights. Each chain reaction exploded, and that platform flashed with crystalline light, shaking the White Horse Highlands. Nevertheless, the others could not see clearly what was happening inside. Although there was no sound, everyone sensed this genuine gentle earth divine thunder's might. Even first-rate supercluster cultivators would perhaps be nothing more than smithereens if they were caught in that. Unable to clearly see the battle inside, the people outside were suddenly worried, discussing in succession. Just what is the background of this fatso? To surprisingly have the gentle earth divine thunder. The other person is a supervoid late-stage great cultivator. What is strange about his having such a thing? Right. But still, he is honestly somewhat skilled. No wonder he dared to talk like that. This dragon school is truly fortune. Where did they receive such an ancestral master? Everyone was both envious and fearful of the dragon school that had not been worth a mention a few moments ago, very conflicted. At this moment, they suddenly heard a dragon's roar. The gentle earth divine thunder filling the area was suddenly torn to shreds. Emperor Liang used the true dragon imperial chi to twist apart the gentle earth divine thunder. He raised his hand, and a ray of yellow light stabbed directly at Old Pig. Any way it was put, Old Pig was a great cultivator from several hundred years ago. Although he had relied on his star dual covenants to achieve instant success, he was still Emperor Liang's senior. He completely did not lose out to the chi of Emperor Liang's true dragon mandate of heaven. Old Pig sneered, and the gentle earth divine thunder exploded again and again. But at this moment, the distance between a star master of the star duels and a genuine cultivator began to appear. Emperor Liang urged on his sword chant, not holding back his profound magic energy at all. The 72 outer void flying immortals' swords twisted the yellow dragons. With the yellow dragons destroyed, the life-cast flying swords were destroyed as well. Old Pig's complexion immediately appeared unsightly beyond compare. The 72 heavenly immortals descended, their sword chi like a galaxy suspended above them. It cleared away the yellow smoke surrounding the platform. This power was completely unlike any of the Star Master opponents Old Pig had ever faced. Those flying yellow rays became 9-clawed true dragons that pounced directly at Old Pig. This was one of Emperor Liang's most powerful abilities. True Dragon Heavenly Kill. Emperor Liang's attack demonstrated the difference between them. Old Pig was caught off guard. He could only grit his teeth as he bore the attack. The dragon roared, and the True Dragon Heavenly Kill directly constricted Old Pig. The nearby cultivators watching this scene were startled. This Old Pig was unexpectedly without any defensive magic weapons. To encounter Emperor Liang's True Dragon Heavenly Kill like this bode ill for him. Just at this moment, Old Pig's divine intent moved, and that yellow robe on his body unleashed spiritual light. A 9-clawed true dragon shape manifested on the yellow robe. Immediately, it leapt out and attacked the True Dragon Heavenly Kill. 2 true dragons appeared. It was impossible to distinguish which was real and which was fake, shocking all of the cultivators. With a bang, Old Pig was leapt backwards, surprisingly escaping the True Dragon Heavenly Kill without losing composure. Even Emperor Liang showed astonishment at this. The yellow gown of coronation. Your distinguished self truly impresses us. To surprisingly have this level of magic weapon protecting you. Emperor Liang gazed at Old Pig with an increasingly reserved expression, but to capitulate to the U-Dragon school, your distinguished self's identity is somewhat suspicious. Old Pig meaningfully smiled, Your Majesty is skilled. This true dragon imperial chi makes Old Pig's yellow gown of coronation very taxed. To defeat Your Majesty alone, it appears that Old Pig was indeed a bit arrogant. Interesting. Emperor Liang heard the implication in his words, and the corner of his lips curled into a smile. Very well then. We shall seriously come experience this yellow gown of coronation. Just which is stronger, our true dragon mandate of heaven or your yellow gown of coronation? Very good. The two of them showed smiles. Between their grins, perilous killing intent nevertheless gushed out of each of their bodies, shaking the pavilions on the White Horse Hylians to the verge of collapse. Supervoid cultivators' divine intents began to pressure one another, probing. Not a moment later, a bead of cold sweat slid down Old Pig's forehead. His pudgy body began to shudder. Although Old Pig did his utmost to apply pressure, Emperor Liang's spiritual pressure was a whole other level of terrifying. He was not Emperor Liang's opponent. The difference was already made clear in Old Pig's heart at this moment. Emperor Liang shouted and stamped his foot. His intense spiritual pressure seemed substantive. The 5 nine-clawed true dragons that were concentrated from the imperial chi became material one after another, pouncing towards Old Pig. Old Pig's only trick was the immemorial gentle earth divine thunder. 5 mountains of divine thunder sprouted from the ground, blocking in front of Old Pig, yet they were completely unable to stop the true dragon's assault. The 5 mountains were destroyed one after the other. The yellow gown of coronation automatically protected Old Pig. The man curled his body in preparation to resist, but at this moment, the surrounding 72 heavenly immortals' swords used unstoppable force to attack. 72 absolutely beautiful sword chi rays twisted around Old Pig's body, trapping him in another outer void sword array. Old Pig's complexion changed. The yellow robe on his body sustained the endless rampage of the sword chi, making him unable to budge. The pressure on his body became even heavier. Emperor Liang had no interest in continuing this farce. He waved his hand, and the 72 sword immortals returned to his side. The mountain-toppling sword chi then vanished from Old Pig's body, and at this moment, the latter was already cutting a very sorry figure. The spiritual aura of the powerful magic weapon on his body turned weak, its spiritual light extinguished. Now then, the show is over. Emperor Liang declared. His figure moved, and he swiped a palm at Old Pig. This strike was intended to destroy the yellow gown of coronation. Just as the palm strike was about to land, a gorgeous shield appeared out of nowhere. He focused all of his strength into his palm, and this shield's red light expanded. Scorching fire suddenly blocked and repelled Emperor Liang's palm. Emperor Liang was shocked to have surprisingly been repelled by this shield. This is, seeing 2 phoenix shields spread their wings and spin around Old Pig's surroundings, Emperor Liang drew in a breath. Feng Armor Huang Shield. You repulsive man, you unexpectedly dare hurt Big Brother. Old Pig, are you alright? Tao Fenghuang and Yu Qingsheng could wait no longer. They charged onto the arena, and what blocked Emperor Liang's palm was none other than Tao Fenghua's star weapon, the Feng Armor Huang Shield. Old Pig had inherited Tao Fenghua's innate skill, so this Feng Armor Huang Shield could protect him at any moment. Yu Qingsheng brought out the Shuang Nu Xiao and blew a tune. The Xian Nu Shuai blew a slow, bone-chilling tune. Countless hailstones fell from the sky towards Emperor Liang. Dark Technique. Ice and Rain Attract. The 6-star dark technique left Emperor Liang with no choice but to use his flying swords to defend, and the sleet that pounded his flying swords brought a biting cold. His body's magic energy seemed to freeze into powerlessness, making the emperor of the great Liang dynasty comprehend what made this graceful woman frightening. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Star General. Star Master. The entire White Horse Highlands was dumbfounded. They stared in disbelief at the star crest engraved on Old Pig's forehead. This identity reveal surprisingly showed that he was a Star Master. No one dared believe their eyes. A Supervoid late-stage Star Master, so incredible, heavens, how is he more of a monster than the Purple Thunder monster? This generation's star duels truly are unbelievable. This must be managed Star Nine-Tailed Turtle's star weapon. They are unexpectedly so powerful, to have reached this realm before the 3 heavenly books. Just who are you, your distinguished self? Emperor Liang said in a low voice, finally perceiving that Old Pig's identity was not very ordinary. Old Pig chuckled. Big brother, why waste your breath on him? Tao Fenghuang gnashed her teeth in anger. Seeing Old Pig's defeat, she was full of hostility towards Emperor Liang. For you Star Masters to interfere in the Alliance of 10 conference, do you honestly believe you can be so arrogant? Immortal outside heaven rushed over at this time. You must not be a Star Master of this era. The yellow gown of coronation, the U-Dragon School, and 2 earthly stars. Could it be, you are that Star Master from the U-Dragon School who contracted double stars 500 years ago? Emperor Liang was slightly astonished. Impossible, Immortal outside heaven did not dare believe this. Is your Majesty still willing to uphold our agreement? If you lose to me, Old Pig innocently said. At this moment, not only Immortal outside heaven, but every other cultivator had unsightly expressions. If he truly was a 4th-generation Star Master plus 2 Star Generals, how could Emperor Liang possibly be their opponent? Your distinguished self is indeed shrewd. Emperor Liang smiled. But a Star Master ought to properly abide by the rules of the Star Duels. We do not know why you have appeared here or why Maiden Mountain displayed that phenomenon, but we urge you not to complicate things. It seems your Majesty is about to let slip a secret. I, Old Pig, am very disappointed. Old Pig had anticipated this. Since this is the case, this Immortal shall also fight you. This will be even. Immortal Outist Heaven sneered. Old Pig nodded, his expression completely disdainful. You, Old Pig does not mind. Looking around him, Old Pig's eyes glinted with disdain at the strongest cultivators present. You, and you, and you. If you refuse, then come at me all at once. So arrogant. You think just because you contracted 2 earthly stars you can dare not place us in your eyes. Your Majesty, let us teach him a lesson together. All of the cultivators were infuriated. Several thousand flying swords suddenly rained down. Old Pig sneered. He only sensed that the Purple Thunder monster was nowhere present in the White Horse Highlands, and he did not want to waste any time at all, so as to avoid unanticipated accidents. Since you refuse, then I shall kill all of you and make this sect hold supremacy. Iron Whistle Yuqingshang was already fully charged. She shut her eyes and played her flute. The flute's song dragged, and a bewitching tune descended from the heavens. Immediately, it spread over the White Horse Highlands 1,000 li. Be careful. Emperor Liang's complexion changed. Yuqingshang played the Xiao passionately. Heaven rank technique. 9 Immortals Bewitching Song. Brilliant starbursts splashed out of the heavenly river, and the brilliant ringing of weapons echoed around. Above the endlessly beautiful galaxy, a man and woman flitted quickly about, dancing, in the middle of the river. The woman was dressed in thin silk and possessed a wonderful figure. Her inherently graceful body nevertheless emitted a powerful aggression. Watch this. Scholar in a white robe Wang Luan had hardly finished speaking when the white jade red Luan staff in her hand struck straight towards Su Xing. The wind it brought gusted. Though Wang Luan waved her staff about as light as a feather, it was in fact heavy as Mount Tai upon striking a body. Each time considerably drained Su Xing's defenses. If it was not for that 5-star destined weapon in his hand, to think of facing Wang Luan head-on even with sufficient strength and weaponry would leave him at an inevitable disadvantage. How else could he have lasted more than 100 bouts in this battle? The two of them were very obviously experts at combat. Each exchange, each instant was potentially fatal. The whirling weapons and surrounding killing intent were like soaring dragon fangs crossing in midair. The river of stars split and cracked under each and every bit of their killing intent. Hey! Scholar in a white robe brows were already slightly furrowed, as if she was a bit incredulous that a single star master could last so long under her attacks. Her heart did not concede this at all, and she swung her staff once again. The front of the staff suddenly became a thorough red, as if it was burning. Wherever it swept, not only did it make Su Xing feel scorching pain, even the hazy river of stars seemed to evaporate. The white-hot weapon brought with it a wave of heat, as if an incorporeal sword blade swung with metallic body itself to attack Su Xing. Brilliant starbursts splashed out of the heavenly river, and the brilliant ringing of weapons echoed around. Above the endlessly beautiful galaxy, a man and woman flitted quickly about, dancing, in the middle of the river. The woman was dressed in thin silk and possessed a wonderful figure. Her inherently graceful body nevertheless emitted a powerful aggression. Watch this. Scholar in a white robe Wang Luan had hardly finished speaking when the white jade red Luan staff in her hand struck straight towards Su Xing. The wind it brought gusted. Though Wang Luan waved her staff about as light as a feather, it was in fact heavy as Mount Tai upon striking a body. Each time considerably drained Su Xing's defenses. If it was not for that 5-star destined weapon in his hand, to think of facing Wang Luan head-on even with sufficient strength and weaponry would leave him at an inevitable disadvantage. How else could he have lasted more than 100 bouts in this battle? The two of them were very obviously experts at combat. Each exchange, each instant was potentially fatal. The whirling weapons and surrounding killing intent were like soaring dragon fangs crossing in midair. The river of stars split and cracked under each and every bit of their killing intent. Hey! Scholar in a white robe brows were already slightly furrowed, as if she was a bit incredulous that a single star master could last so long under her attacks. Her heart did not concede this at all, and she swung her staff once again. The front of the staff suddenly became a thorough red, as if it was burning. Wherever it swept, not only did it make Su Xing feel scorching pain, even the hazy river of stars seemed to evaporate. The white-hot weapon brought with it a wave of heat, as if an incorporeal sword blade swung with metallic body itself to attack Su Xing. This was heart-burning with anxiety. The meditative mind lotus flower blossomed in midair, inhibiting the staff's burning strikes. Seizing his chance, Su Xing did not stop here. He roamed about, like a fierce tiger. His body stretched taut and launched. For as long as he could maintain the dragon sparrow Du-Long saber, he would wield this star weapon to its limit with his full power. A several dozen meter wide murderous aura shot out from the saber's tip. It crisscrossed like 2 dragon fangs, launching directly towards Wang Luan. The latter promptly withdrew, blocking with her staff. Then in the next instant, Su Xing waved the saber again. This time, purple mansion immortal thunder burst out from the fingers holding the saber. 5 bolts of lightning menacingly cut off Wang Luan's escape path. This time, the purple mansion immortal thunder broke through Wang Luan's defenses without slowing at all. This timely attack did not faze Scholar in a white robe at all. In actuality, with the height of Wang Luan's realm, Su Xing's pittance of realm and tricks were completely not worth a mention, though she praised Su Xing's purple mansion immortal thunder. Her staff ripped space apart, and the meditative mind lotus flower protecting him became smithereens. Shadows of the staff blew purple mansion immortal thunder clean away, and the staff's wind followed its assault immediately. Everything was integrated together, leaving no leeway. Scholar in a white robe had counterattacked in that instant. Her excellent judgment and skill immediately made the Su Xing who had taken the initiative lack any better choice than to retreat and defend. Seeing Su Xing withdraw, Wang Luan's fighting intent sharply ignited. Her blood seemed to boil, and Wang Luan did not hesitate at all to dash over. The speed of her second swing could not be tracked by the naked eye. Su Xing dodged around with her, warding off each and every bit of pressure put against him. From time to time, the river of stars would be swept over by a sharp weapon, and then it would immediately let out a wretched ripping sound. The glaring staff and the afterimages it brought jumped about dazzlingly in the galaxy. The Su Xing caught in the middle of the staff shadows appeared just like he was pinned by the weight of a mountain, the light of the dragon sparrow long saber in his hand growing weaker and weaker. A second strike, third, and a fourth. Each was even more fierce than the last. Their power increased as fast as they struck. Su Xing became even more grave. Although he had Lin Yingmei's battle doctrine innate skill and was thus capable of contending against a star general, even if Lin Yingmei herself was here, perhaps they still would not be able to relax. Just as Wang Luan had said earlier, she was indeed very strong. She had only begun to get serious, but Su Xing was already sensing he was nearing his limit. For a star master to think of defeating her, Su Xing did not even consider this luxury at all. Right now, Su Xing thought only of stalling Wang Luan as long as possible to buy Hua Wanyue a chance to cross the bridge of magpies, nothing else. As for what would come after, Su Xing had never given it a thought. Wang Luan's attacks were as overwhelming as a tidal wave, and there were completely no gaps between her attacks. The raging flames on the staff bit wildly. Su Xing's robes needed only to be grazed to instantly be destroyed by the invisible heat wave. Even the Hua Wanyue who was a certain distance away could feel stifled. It was easy to imagine how difficult it was for Su Xing to face this attack directly. But if this was enough to make him surrender, then she was unavoidably looking down on Su Xing too much. Even if the cold hair on his head was singed away, Su Xing would not mind in the slightest. A warrior who pursued the pinnacle of strength could not possibly react at all to this kind of threatening attack. Amidst the fast exchanges, Su Xing used beautiful footwork that could not easily be tracked. His figure evaded Wang Luan's attacks like faint mist, inconceivably avoiding all of her attacks, surprisingly. Suddenly, Wang Luan's, heart burning with anxiety, lost its usefulness. Huh? Wang Luan stared in disbelief, not daring to believe her eyes. The footwork Su Xing exhibited could not possibly be possessed by Yangshan continent's star masters. Their body technique simply could only dream of evading the attacks of a top-notch star general. Seizing upon the instant that Wang Luan's mind wandered as she stabbed fiercely, Su Xing used light smoke dance steps to flash behind the woman and attack. The dragon sparrow long saber flared with its final flames, trailing like ribbons. He merely raised it just a bit, and then bone-chilling cold wrapped around his whole body. Dark technique. Sparrow drinks winter spring. But before this cold light could taste blood, Wang Luan's staff counterattacked. Su Xing's heart was glum. Wang Luan was at least already true Phoenix realm. If she was guarded, to take advantage of her was actually too difficult. That punch made her heart and lungs feel like they had been struck by an enormous mountain. She had never imagined a star master would give her this kind of feeling. This is too serious. And Su Xing's performance made Wang Luan very bewildered. She did not know why, but Wang Luan could see the shadow of a star general from Star World in this man. Particularly with those formidable martial arts he used to face her head-on with, Wang Luan thought of one loathsome name. Lin Chong, Battle Doctrine. What is your relationship to Lin Chong? Wang Luan's tone sank, and the killing intent in her eyes swelled. Was your servant's blow too heavy? Are you already unable to speak? Wang Luan laughed. Droplets of blood rolled along the staff, gathering at the front to form a bead of blood. It tottered, particularly eye-catching. She is your servant's wife. You two have animosity, is it? Su Xing fearlessly replied to this provocation. Then, he vigilantly watched his opponent's each and every move. At the same time, he took the opportunity to inspect his wounds, using Ensuan's innate skill medical healing. Wang Luan blinked. Why would you believe his? Su Xing shrugged his shoulders, too, pondering his next way out. To toy with Lin Chong's star master, your servant has not waited futilely in this double sevens. The corner of scholar in a white robe's mouth curled. Then, she gripped her staff and pounced. From this moment forward, you are your servant's toy. Killing intent leapt at the immobilized Su Xing, and Su Xing then considered using the jade pendant to escape. Just at this moment, a muffled bang. A light suddenly descended from the heavens, drawing a straight path towards Wang Luan. Countless blinding sparks flew the moment the weapons made contact. The arrows revolving killing intent directly sent Wang Luan flying. Before she could stop, another 3 arrows were fired her way. Seeing the arrows, Su Xing was quite surprised. Hua Wanyue grabbed Su Xing and dashed towards the Magpie Bridge. Hua Wanyue, why haven't you left? Su Xing gloomily asked. I am looking after you on behalf of Yingmei. Do not get the wrong idea. Hua Wanyue said as she turned her head back, her complexion changing. An extremely fast white shadow had instantly appeared in front of Hua Wanyue, obstructing her. This place is the Double Sevens. Only one person can leave, how many times are you going to make your servant repeat? Wang Luan disdainfully asked. The Double Sevens is a trial in life and death together. If Su Xing can stake everything for me, then we should have passed this trial, Hua Wanyue calmly said. Wang Luan nodded, he indeed has passed the trial. Then, now it is your turn. Hua Wanyue's hand waved, and the red jade star-splitting short spear appeared in her hand. The hero star's air of heroism chilled. This is what I have been looking for. Lin Chong killed Wang Luan over some dispute. Right arrow curving left 2. Ow, his shoulders broken. Her short spear vanished, and the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow appeared. She drew it and fired an arrow. Su Xing similarly sneak-attacked from behind. The two were in a pincer formation. In Wang Luan's eyes, that tacit coordination could truly be described using the words, embarrassing, or, poor example. Ha! Another staff appeared in Wang Luan's hand. This staff burned like fire, clear as a jewel. A phoenix shape coiled around the staff, a stance magnificent to the extreme. This was Wang Luan's destined star weapon, Double Seven's clinging phoenix. 10,000 Li God-killing arrow. Heavenly abyss flying swords. Purple mansion immortal thunder. The dark technique and Su Xing's abilities attacked at the same time. High love deep hatred. Wang Luan used her dark technique again. The Double Seven's clinging phoenix staff's shadows were myriad. Countless phoenix shadows shot out of the staff with stunning postures, attacking the surroundings. The 10,000 Li God-killing arrow easily broke apart. The purple mansion immortal thunder also vanished into thin air. Yet the barely standing heavenly abyss blocked in front of Wang Luan like towering mountains. Su Xing's hand flipped open the treasure book at this moment, revealing her star name. Star position, Scholar star name, Wang Luan nickname, Scholar in a white robe true name, Wang Lungji, 2, star number, 370 star weapon, Double Seven's clinging phoenix, 0 star, star beast, Nun realm, true phoenix second stage innate skill, white clothes fluttering about, 3, 5 elements, water yellow rank special technique, assertion dark rank special technique, high love deep hatred earth rank special technique, Starry River not crossing the Magpie Bridge heaven rank special technique. Nun current status, Double Sevens, cannot be conquered, detailed materials. Although this Wang Luan appeared a bit weaker than the overlords they had encountered, she was true Phoenix realm, after all. It was very difficult for Su Xing and Hua Wanyue to contend against her directly, especially now when Wang Luan was surprisingly using her destined star weapon in fury and resentment. Wanyue, let's not get entangled. Su Xing did not hesitate to come to Hua Wanyue's side, enduring his wounds as he pulled Hua Wanyue's hand, warning this proud woman that now was not the time for fighting. Seeing Wang Luan's status was trapped in the Double Sevens, rather than continue fighting, it would be better to avoid the trouble. Where are you running to? Wang Luan shouted. Su Xing's expression changed. Heavenly abyss was breached by Wang Luan. Su Xing formed a hand seal. The Heavenly Abyss sword array once again formed, relying on iron determination to trap Wang Luan. Leave, quickly. No. Hua Wanyue said stubbornly. If you have faith in me, then leave first. Don't think about that fucking Star General's honor. Just go first. If you truly hate me, then you may as well die together with me. Su Xing shouted. You, bang, bang, bang. Continuous strikes again burst out. Wang Luan's powerful attack was continuous. Su Xing put everything into using his divine intent for defense, but this was astonishingly taxing on him. Wang Luan was not using her true weapon. Each strike was stronger than the last by several tenfold. Although she was injured, she instead became even more violent. Under this dilly-dallying, neither of the two could escape. How can I abandon you? Hua Wanyue finally spoke the words in her heart. She naturally realized the severity of the current situation. Neither was willing to take the first step, contrarily allowed Wang Luan to act as she pleased. Wang Luan's power was the power of the Double Sevens galaxy. Her power was practically unlimited. Ingmei, your hubby will die with Hua Wanyue in the name of love today. Su Xing sighed. Wanyue, how are you so stupid? Hearing Ingmei's name, Hua Wanyue bit her lip and finally said. I will wait for you to return. Saying this, Hua Wanyue flew towards the Magpie Bridge. Since you want to leave, then your servant shall send you off. Wang Luan was enraged by the Heavenly Abyss swords. The Double Sevens clinging phoenix staff in her hands suddenly erupted, swing down fiercely. In that instant, the seemingly weak staff became boundlessly large. It practically filled the entire galaxy. Strong light illuminated the cosmos, blowing everything away. Su Xing's complexion changed. This is bad. Wang Lengji's earth rank. Starry River not crossing the Magpie Bridge. Boom. An indescribably magnificent sea of flame roared out from the staff, pouring down. The endless galaxy surprisingly almost evaporated away under this attack. The Heavenly Abyss flying swords became a giant array. The sword's power magnified. Su Xing practically wielded his power to its limit. But Wang Luan's earth rank was too powerful. Heavenly Abyss trembled uncontrollably, its tortoiseshell marks cracking. With a clang, they surprisingly shattered. Then, they were destroyed by the light. The flying swords forged from the black turtle divine iron that was reputed in Liangshan continent to be unbreakable had surprisingly been destroyed. Su Xing vomited blood. Heavenly Abyss and his life were connected. With the flying swords destroyed, the consequences could be imagined. This intense pain promptly made Su Xing lose the power to resist. He had thought of using the jade pendant, but now he could not muster even a bit of divine intent to activate it. Oh, shit. Su Xing cursed to himself, smiling bitterly. He never imagined that Heavenly Abyss would be destroyed at this moment. This was truly a failure. Hey! The Double Sevens clinging phoenix staff broke through the heavenly fire. Scholar in a white robe Wang Lengji's wonderful figure was in front of him. The woman swung her staff, aiming directly for Su Xing's heart. Without any suspense, the staff thrust out. When the Heaven Rank 9 Immortals Bewitching song played through the White Horse Highlands, top-notch cultivators like Emperor Liang and Immortal outside heaven immediately felt frightening chills. At nearly the moment the first note was played, before the other cultivators could even react, the complexions of Emperor Liang and the others changed. Without hesitation, they used escape techniques to instantly flee the White Horse Highlands. A Star General's heaven rank was a terrifying legend in Liangshan continent. No one wished to try one. But Iron Whistle Yu Qingshang's 9 Immortals Bewitching song was very formidable. In an instant, her song transmitted through White Horse Highlands, as if a giant, invisible net had covered it. There was no world-shaking force, and there was no dazzling magnificence. A melodious, sublime song played from the Xian Nu Xiao. There was only a simple quietness. Able to make water cease its flow, winds suddenly freeze, it seemed as if the world had abruptly fallen silent, sinking into a sort of frightening tranquility. Every magic weapon, ability, and flying sword completely lost their power at this moment. Even Emperor Liang's innate kingly might was nowhere to be seen. At the same time, all cultivators seemed to have lost consciousness, unable to free themselves from the profound flute song that came from the 9 firmaments above. Their weak appearance was such that even a child with a dagger could easily slaughter them. This was precisely the formidable aspect of the 9 Immortals' bewitching song. Yu Qingshang's heaven rank 9 Immortals' bewitching song could make the surrounding targets lose any opportunity to defend themselves. Any powers and abilities would crumble away. As the saying goes, they were sitting ducks. Some of the stronger cultivators perhaps could maintain lucidity, but to lose their means of attack and defense, this was no different from death. Old Pig indifferently looked at everything, his gaze even staring at them with some pity. Originally in the star duels, he had relied on Yu Qingshang's heaven-rank technique coordination to dispatch the star masters of many top-notch martial generals. Against these cultivators, Old Pig honestly was a bit disapproving. Only those who participated in the star duels will know what is called the heaven that is outside heaven. A supervoid peak. You can only flaunt your might in Liangshan continent. Why have you appeared here? Emperor Liang said incredulously. What? Your Majesty. Are you willing to help Old Pig complete that agreement? Old Pig smiled and asked. Seeing Emperor Liang's unyielding expression, Old Pig regretfully shook his head. Since that is the case, then Old Pig shall destroy all of you. His fingers spread, and a gentle earth divine thunder opened from his palm. It attacked Emperor Liang. Big brother, Tao Fenghua's defenses were increasingly drained. Old Pig's expression was increasingly unsightly. He was very aware of his own capabilities. Although he was Maiden Mountain's 4th overlord, but in that generation's star duels, if he was not deflecting attacks, then he was using the 9 Immortals' bewitchment to create an opening. He had never imagined that he would surprisingly be entrapped so soon after descending the mountain for the trial. It seems that I, Old Pig, have truly underestimated you all. Old Pig smiled in his extreme fury, then I, Old Pig, shall show you have underestimated me. Old Pig's eyes widened, and his forehead flared with 2 star crests. When Tao Fenghua and Yu Qingshang saw this, they tacitly nodded to one another. Immediately, their figures moved. Tao Fenghua held her hands out, making the Feng armor Huang shield arrange into a beautiful platform. Yu Qingshang leapt onto the platform as nimbly as a fairy, gripping her Xian Nu Xiao. She shut her eyes and played. A graceful, clear melody came from her flute. Mysterious as a phoenix, the tune fluttered in their ears. In the surroundings of that terrace, phoenixes leapt about. Old Pig and his star generals were on the terrace, bright flames surprisingly preventing Wu Xinjie and the others from drawing close at all. Little sisters, leave quickly. Lin Yingmei shouted. She froze her whole body solid and rushed at the flames. Carefully appreciate this legendary heaven-earth dark yellow skill. Old Pig displayed a lofty attitude, as if he was certain of victory. Reminiscing the Xiao players at Fenghuang Terrace. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.